Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tumbleweeds and Tombstones, the show where each week my players try to accuse me of killing them, and I have to remind them that they're already dead.
I mean, it just happens way too often.
Curse me and my giving you guys plot.
Match
I
is
signed up
dead
for-
on the inside.
Loosely defined.
I thought we were just going to have a ranch and every game was going to be like Farmville.
Yes.
I named it Hidden Valley. Why did this not take off?
He actually did name it Hidden Valley.
I did.
That's not in any episodes, but that happened.
True facts. All right. When last we joined with the Spurs, you guys had decided to ride back, though it was somewhat of a jarring experience for some of you of remembering past experiences as you rode back to the San Miguel mission. The ride itself was uneventful for the first half until some of you with some adept perception rolls began to realize that you were being followed by several large bestial creatures just outside your eye line that seemed to be taking themselves at your own pace. They weren't in attack mode, but they were very much closely observing. As you guys started to quicken pace just in case they were hostile, you heard howls off in the distance, and you're pretty sure that the road is being watched by a good number of lupine. You made it to San Miguel to see that they have refortified the mission. It seems that the La Sombra that have taken over the mission in a pact that they made with your employer, Lord Pembroke, have wasted no time in refortifying and securing their new holding in the States. You guys made it inside to see the place bustling with nuns and monks, some of which you can tell are kindred, some of which are mortals, maybe ghouls, maybe just servants to their new lords. But very much there's the air of keeping up appearance, that if someone were to walk into the mission, it seems accurate. Although the decor inside being somewhat more macabre and focusing on the suffering of Christianity and the different martyrs and moments of pain and tribulation that are depicted in the Bible and other writings.
I like to believe that there's also an intern there named Steve who just gets coffee.
He's new Steve.
The new Steve, yeah. After
He's the new Steve.
Poor Steve.
So it is written, and so it shall be, that forever under this roof a Steve shall live. You guys made your way down to the subterranean level underneath the mission, where you rejoined up with Octavian, one of the generals of Lord Pembroke, the Tremere blood sorcerer who's able to command different abilities that you guys aren't quite sure of. You've seen a little bit of his power and his ability to manipulate water and things like that, and he obviously has some kind of blood magic, but beyond that, not quite sure. You decided to press him for information about lupines, what he knew about them, how to better prepare yourself. Some of the information not as helpful as you had hoped. You already knew that they have an allergy to silver, and it's the only way to get past their very quick healing factor.
This seemed to be the most important thing that we already knew.
You did, however, find out some useful information that lupines are not made in the same way that vampires are, but they are actually, it's a biological gene that is passed down from parent to child, whether those parents be wolves, whether those parents be humans, or some combination of the two. Because of that, the Native American village that they seem to be calling their home base, if you guys can find where it is, might be a place that you can apply pressure and thus distract them enough to divide their forces and maybe give you a better chance at a assault. You are getting the idea that you guys are going to have to be a little bit more sneaky rather than full on trying to attack them head on. Otherwise, they're going to turn you guys into red paste. You did ask if Octavian could maybe dig a little deeper, see if there's something else that might give you guys an edge against this army of creatures. But in the meantime, for payment of him making new scrolls that would allow you to send messages across time and space to people from far away, he asked that some of you volunteer to come back into the Hell's Gate room, trying to see if his spells and protections that he's put up actually have quieted the restless spirits within that room.
Oh, I know it was just a date.
You know. You guys are led down, noticing that the La Sombra have made the underground passages their own too, converting the opal warning gems into a more obsidian dark gem that seemed to give dark reflections of everyone who passed.
Mine look normal.
Yes. I believe Atris and Liam decided to go inside the room while everyone else waited outside, noticing that there was a new pair of gates blocking this room, protected by blood magic in order to unlock it. Octavian unlocked it, you went in. Atris was relatively creeped out, but otherwise unaffected by the just out of range whispers that seemed to be coming from the stone demonic, almost gargoyle-like faces carved into the walls of this room. Liam, however, decided, as per his nature, to poke the proverbial bear and decided to go up to a large, gigantic, colossal stone hand that in its palm held a well of water, and looked into it to see a reflection of himself looking back, offering him his heart's desire if he only wished for it, a price not yet made. However, through a series of rolls and his own tenacity, was able to resist the temptation of this. And Octavian, feeling satisfied that his efforts were successful, you guys left the room, rejoined with your comrades, and were offered the hospitable bedding down for the dawn, spending the night in a much more welcoming San Miguel.
Okay,
And
so
that is where we jump in for tonight.
I have one unanswered lupine question.
Yes.
If a lupine pees in the woods, do you get a lupine tree? Yes, that's it.
You take one ag. Anyway. Leia and Atris, I need you to make your evening rolls. However, Atris, where before it was standard difficulty, now I need you to roll it at difficulty 7.
How many people are rolling this? 2 or 3?
Just me. I mean, I'm the only one that.
I think only 2 because I don't think anyone else has nightmares.
I succeed with 2 successes.
Then the day passes uneventfully. 2 successes.
2 as well.
Once again, Atris, a new sensation for you since you're turning. You're not used to dreams. Death takes you over and then you're just awake again the following evening. So it's still unsettling that you're finding consciousness during the daylight hours as you feel a stronger and less patient reaching out at almost like ethereal hands trying to grab at your mind and beckoning you to indulge it by speaking to it. But once again, you're able to push it out as rest finds you again, and you slip back into the rest of the dead.
Oh, yes, I need to talk to the meaty Jinn.
but you are very aware of its source, and you are very aware that it's a little unsettling that it was a little bit stronger this time, and you get the idea that, kind of like trying to avoid an addiction, the desire is only going to get worse, and you'll have a choice ahead of you of whether or not to dispose of keeping the djinn with you, or to give in and see what you can do to alleviate this.
Yep.
Other than that, you all spend a blood, you wake up. Having chosen to forego dinner for the most part, you do all wake to find that breakfast has been served, as in the common rooms that you all share, there are about 4 individuals, 2 male, 2 female, standing expectantly, just kind of sitting there patiently, waiting for you all to awaken.
H will make sure she doesn't pick the youngest one that is for Liam. I assume Liam was also getting blood as well. And she's going to approach the male and
Liam, go ahead and
take blood from him.
High or low, Liam?
Low me. I said what I said.
Yeah, it doesn't get much lower than a 1. There is actually a young, what looks like not the stable hand that you saw before, but a different one. Blonde hair, seems to be about 19-ish. You lucked out because since you have not told anyone what your preference is, it just so happened that you lucked out that something that you can feed from is there. So you do all know that from the 4, that means that there is 8 blood points to go around without actually really harming these servants.
I mean, I only need 2, but more than that kills them.
Yeah, I'm not desperate. I can just take 2.
I'll take 2 as well.
Okay, that's 6 of the 8.
I wouldn't mind doing the same. Might need it later.
No, I don't need to eat. He's not here.
Handy.
So that leaves when they see this, they all of them have their moments. They get a bit woozy as someone dressed as a little bit older monk, seems a bit middle-aged, a little bit portly looking. He looks in, he sees as people start dragging them out, and looks to Adele. Miss, are you in need of refreshment as well?
Well, I might as well. Better to be topped off than
bottomed on.
They ask you to wait just a few moments as another person is brought out. Someone dressed as a nun comes by, looks to be an older woman, not ancient, but maybe 40s, something like that, and it's serviceable since you don't have any restrictions.
Will do.
For you, human is human, so
yeah.
I'm gonna roll for my Mask of 1,000 Faces for the night.
Sure.
I'll save it for now. I'm not having to. Atris is not having to appear human in front of anyone currently.
I was trying to look butt ass ugly.
Oh, I know. For Atris, it's just literally just to not look dead.
Okay, yeah, I got 3 successes.
Sure. Yeah, you look like Liam version 1.0. So, all right. The night is yours. What do you guys want to do?
Well, other than getting the scrolls from Octavian, we really should be getting back.
Yes, I believe as soon as we get the scrolls, we should probably leave as soon as possible, just so we can make it back to St. Angelo before the night ends.
Any objections? Apparently.
Sounds wise to me.
Summon peacocks.
All right. You all leave the chambers that have been made up for everybody. When asking around, someone's able to point you to Octavian. He's back in the library. That you get the idea that when he's not working on a particular section of the catacombs, that's where he spends most of his time. It's not the largest collection of books that any of you have ever seen, especially Atreus. You've been to Alamut, and the collection of literally thousands of years of scrolls and papyrus and everything else.
It's the biggest thing she's seen.
Indeed. But it's still, for a bunch of humans that transported this stuff to the Americas, probably from Europe, it's a decent collection of texts and tomes dealing with the supernatural and occult and things of that nature. You guys are led down, and there you do see Octavian reading by oil lanterns as he's sitting there thumbing through a couple of different loose papers, a couple of different books, and he looks up and goes, friends, welcome. Please come in.
Good evening. You walking?
I trust the Dawn found you well.
Oh, yes. And we found your refreshments quite well. Thank you very much.
Actually, I'm assuming the Dawn didn't catch us at all. That's why we're still alive.
Yeah, that's
It's true. Yes. To tax a brass, I have. And he pulls out, let's see, what was the deal for it? It was, how many more did you guys want?
I think it was 3.
3? I feel like
yeah,
it was 3.
It was
Pretty sure it was 3.
Yeah.
It was 3.
And he hands you in what almost looks like one of those leather-bound tubes that you keep like maps and important paperwork and stuff like that. He hands you one of those, and the 3 parchments that you requested are here.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
So, will you be staying or will you be riding on?
We will probably
At this point, yeah, we must get back to St. Angelo before the dawn.
Well, I wish you safe journeys. Expect Asmodeus by week's end. He shall arrive. I will be riding on soon too. Other business calls me away.
How far away you were going?
It may be a while before we see each other again.
Is he going to the 7-Eleven on 5th and Main? That's far.
Well, that's too bad.
Well, in that case, we're gonna wish you pleasant journeys, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Safe travels.
Just for the record, you're my favorite out of the others I've met so far.
He kind of smiles at this, and
That's funny because he slept with one.
He says that to all of you.
Yeah.
he kind of shrugs it off and one more thing, something interesting I found while research. And he pulls out what looks like a very old scroll, very delicate. It is written in Latin. I don't think anyone in this group speaks Latin.
So, it was our resident Latin speaker when she was with us in the catacombs.
Dang it.
You do, however, see depictions underneath, like very crude drawings under. And you see very large bestial creatures, which I'm not going to make you roll for it. You can kind of assume look like werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
And what seems to be another little figure, much smaller than them, holding something. You can't tell what it is. They're holding it up, and there seems to be what's depicting almost like beams coming at it towards them, and it looks like the werewolves are running away.
What are these beam-looking things? If H is looking at it.
As far as specifics, it is not says. It says the weapon of the beast, in loose translation.
Don't he use a pitchfork?
In more modern times, yes, that is a more modern thing. But it depicts of someone who fought the shapeshifters and lupines and found a specific weapon to attack many of them at once to great effect. It may be worth further research to see if it is of some use to you.
Adele, could you do your your special thing and maybe get more info out of that
Do your
parchment?
memory time thing?
But the
Probably
parchment
could.
won't be able to hear her sing.
I also believe the history of the parchment is just its life as a tree.
Yeah.
Oh, heavens be
this-
damned. If only we had a way to wish for this weapon of the beast.
Is this the only thing referencing this weapon that you've discovered?
The only thing in this library, you would have to look at others, but if I had time in travels, I will look at my tomes back in my personal study and see if I can cross-reference it with anything.
What does like the weapon look like? Is it like a mace, a stick?
It literally doesn't show you. You get the idea that it's depicting that basically there's like beams of energy or light or something coming off of it.
Effect.
And
Just the
that is
effect, not,
obscuring what they're, it's something that they can hold in one hand and they're kind of, but again, it's a very rough, crude drawing. It's not exactly like things are to scale. It almost looks like not quite hieroglyphics, but still it's a very rough drawing rather than something specific.
For those of you at home, it is not an apple of Eden. And no, we are not in a genre of Assassin's Creed.
What's the difficulty if my spirits touch it?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be difficulty 7.
Now, one of the general's journals that I have, one of them talks about the lupines, right?
Yes. Specifically, yeah.
I'm just gonna start thumbing through it in front of Octavian.
Okay.
Start showing him what's in here. Like,
These two dropped and they were stacked.
so what do I gotta roll for skim with Octavian?
For what with Octavian?
To skim through the book real quick.
Oh, I mean, if you wanted, at that point, you can either give it to him and you can assist his roll, or you can roll and he can assist you.
I will assist his
5
roll.
successes.
Yes.
I'll assist his roll.
Okay.
This is hard.
Assist the bookworm.
Because the general's diary is at least in English.
All right. I'll say I'll handle Adele's vision first, and then I'll tell you, because it's going to take you a little bit of time of skimming through it to see what you glean out of it. Adele, you now close your eyes as you now have to get used to shutting off your vision from the mortal plane. And you will your vitae and you stretch out, and once again you get that similar sensation of almost kind of floating, where your mind kind of leaves your body for a little bit. And you are thrust forward, and for the most part you see this scroll just sitting in the library. Again, you've kind of learned how to flash past the visions that you're not really looking for. You see Henry walk by it dozens of times. Every so often you'll see him take it out, research. Every so often you'll see another Templar take it out and look at it. You recognize one of them as one of the generals, most likely one of the ones that was writing the notes on the lupines. You then go to it being shoved in, what's kind of hard to see, but it's shoved in with a bunch of other papers. You're then on inside something dark and wet, and it's a little musty, and you hear waves crashing, and with the motion you get the idea that this is this thing coming over to the Americas on a ship. You flash back a little bit more, and suddenly you're in another library, but a little bit more auspicious. There's gilded columns and depictions of marble of angels and religious figures. And from what you remember, this is probably the Vatican that you're seeing.
Okay.
And so you flash back a little bit further. At this point, you were going back years, then decades, then now you've hit where it's at least a couple hundred years past where you are right now. And you see a friar with the bald head on top and the little tuft of hair writing this down and talking with someone that looks like a knight, but very grizzled, a guy. He has only one eye. The other one, he has an eye patch on. Thick gray beard that is pretty much unkempt. Looks like he's just come out of battle. There is blood splatter across the breastplate, mud, everything else. And he's holding a box of some kind that looks like it has a very ornate golden lock on the front of it with multiple different dials on it. There's a centerpiece, and then there's about 3 or 4 dials that radiate slightly bigger each one from the center. And they are talking to each other. You can't understand. Unfortunately, it's not a dialect that you speak because you don't speak Latin.
I mean, the Vatican speaks Spanish.
But these guys seem to be speaking Latin. You get the idea that they purposely pick a language that most people, and you guys would know this, even of the religious, very few people speak Latin, even back then, just because it was something that unless you were a religious person who studied it specifically, even a couple hundred years ago, it was still considered a dead language. You knew enough for when you would go to masses that were held in Latin through memorization of different texts and things like that. But as far as being able to speak it fluently, very few people are able to do so.
Oh, Deus Ex Machina.
Exactly. So, and after that, the vision fades, because since you are looking at the history of the parchment that's being written, not the object in question. And I'll say for your edification, the box is about yay big.
Yay.
Okay.
And you float back into your conscious self, and you open your eyes, and you are back in the catacombs in the library with everybody else.
I relay what you just described because you did it better than I could. Ditto.
So she dittos at you.
That's my favorite Pokemon.
So yeah.
I throw
And-
a small colored ball at Adele.
Octavian goes, interesting. Well, at least you know now, perhaps know the size of this object.
How big was it? One more time, I'm sorry.
Is it bigger than a bread box?
About the size of a bread box, actually. It's about
It's a bloody bread box.
maybe about 2 feet wide and maybe about a foot tall.
Ooh, hefty bread.
It is
Sounds like a
bread.
pumpernickel
larger-
situation.
It is neither larger than a bread box nor smaller than a bread box.
You know that we're gonna check every bread store,
wrong.
right? Like for the rest of the game.
Bread boxes weren't invented yet.
They will be now.
The
1918.
one weakness of lupines, grain.
They're gluten intolerant.
God damn it. Smell a disease.
Well, we get some information from that, I guess.
I suppose it's a start, at least, on another idea. But if there's nothing else, I simply should take a leave.
I'm still skim reading.
Yes.
Oh,
So
sorry.
Walladell was on her vision quest. Liam, you, having read through this a little bit once or twice before with Henry in the times that you were speaking with him while he was healing, you point out different things, and Octavian kind of looks and he notices a pattern, and he kind of looks through, and he notices that in the journal there's little numbers, and you've noticed these before, where every so often certain at the bottom of certain pages there'll be little numbers, usually sets of 3 of
I assume
them.
it's a cipher.
And he actually pulls out, he looks through the books that are here, and he pulls out a very old copy of what you recognize to be the Bible.
Mhm.
And flips it open, and oh yes, it crafty, but not too crafty for me. And he looks through and he starts writing down on a piece of paper, and it starts saying, "Follow the moon as she rests for the night. This will give you the path to the first marker."
Yeah. Tools, writing. Yeah. I have none of it.
As
Stupid noob.
she, say it again, follow the moon as she rests in the night.
As she rests for the night, this will lead you to the first marker. And he flips through it a little bit more, and he goes, "It seems that this general, through his servants, has found location of Lupine Village. This leads to that."
Oh. Now that's something we can use.
And he shrugs and hands you over the copy of the Bible and gives you back the journal. I hope this is of use to you.
Okay, so the journals we had, one was about the lupine, one was about other kindred.
Yep. One was about human, like witches, mages, mortals that express magical ability.
Okay, hold on to that. I'm gonna hold on to all of them. And I cannot remember what the fourth one was.
Uh,
I have it written down, but it's still deep in my notes.
Is it the super secret muffin recipe?
no. Let me check my notes.
It's okay. I don't want to stall the game. We'll figure that one out
I
later.
was pretty focused on like the vampire one and the
I'm sure,
mage one that had the Order of Kronos in it, but I don't remember the other one.
yeah, I'm sure it's somewhere in my notes. Like I'm sure
Intel of
there's
some kind. Maybe it was just a bunch of needle point
The last one was
patterns.
about human relations in the era. Basically, it was a cipher of. So basically, one was lupines, one was human mages and witches, the other was of vampires in the group, and the last one was basically of those in the area and surrounding areas loyal to the Inquisition, whether it be hidden agents such as you would assume that maybe the guy that attacked Henry would probably be in there.
Noted.
Things like that. So that
read
one
some of the books we
all
get.
of them, that one about the humans was the one that was the most where you're going to have to find the cipher for that one, because you get the idea that that was basically their hidden roster of all their undercover agents.
Ooh.
Or anyone that had ever been loyal to them or helped them or given them supplies or where their trade routes are. It was all that one read more like a not only a
that one's more bookkeeping.
That one's more bookkeeping where it's but for someone like you who's very business savvy, this is not only a directory, it is also they're tracing their money. So just like what led to Al Capone's downfall, this would be a way to basically cripple them in various different areas.
I'll look at it later. Oh, do we have anything else?
No, I believe I'm content.
Got what we came for as far as I can tell.
I think we're ready to get on out of here.
All right.
We thank you once again for your help.
It is what I am here to do. Well, one of several things. Safe travels. I hope and he kind of gestures to the scroll that he gave you guys. I hope you find it useful. And you guys are led back up. As you come up, you actually do run into, you see him speaking with several other people, and he seems pretty busy. But you do see Archbishop Benito de Luca, the new head of this place.
I always want to say Del Toro.
Delfino's granddaddy, her grandsire.
Yes, the grandsire of Delfina. And he walks up and, it is good to see you.
Oh, and you as well.
I'm hoping our hospitality was to your liking.
I'll be sure to complete the survey when I receive it.
Walter smacks Liam inside the head. He goes, "We've been well taken care of."
Oh. Well, you are always welcome here.
Well, you're
Good to know
welcome
that
at our little house up north as well, but maybe that wouldn't be as nice as all this. But you're welcome though.
I thank you for your offer.
Walter looks nervously around everyone.
But it's good to see that the mission is in good hands and would continue to be under your control.
Yes, we will keep good watch on it. And it's one of those things of you guys, the same thing as last time. There's something about this guy. I mean, you get this kind of feel from a lot of La Sombra that you've now walked across. But something about this guy specifically, even when he's smiling, even when he's being polite and cordial, and there's no logical reason for it, there's something that just makes you feel kind of uncomfortable around him. There's definitely there is no light behind his eyes in his smile. There is just a darkness in there, and you kind of feel awkward about making eye contact with him because you feel if you stare too long in those little beads of black that look back, that they're gonna swallow you up a little bit. There's definitely a depth to this guy.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you do know, well, actually, all of you go ahead and make a int plus occult roll for me.
Yeah, I did that.
3.
Wow. 4.
4.
1.
1.
It's
That's
0.
probably the best int
I haven't got a
roll
high roll,
ever
but
did.
there's
3.
a
3.
1.
You everyone except for Walter, who's busy, I don't know, looking at the new architecture and everything else.
Pretty.
Is
You
that the
know
same
that they
one?
keep referring to him as Archbishop. In Sabbat, the Archbishop is equal in power to a prince in the Camarilla.
Yeah, that's
So,
what it is.
which says something because in this day and age, a prince usually rules an entire city with supreme authority. I mean, they have their court and their people that they count on in the same way that Pembroke has his generals that he counts on and everything else. But they usually wield an entire city. So if this guy is choosing to, rather than wherever he was from, be running a city and instead be overseeing this mission, it lets you know that they see a good amount of value in it, because someone who has that kind of rank, this is universal between whether you be Camarilla, Sabbat, or independent. Power speaks more than anything else. You can sit there and say that, oh, I'm the child of this person and this person, and that might go a little bit, especially with certain clans. But if you don't have the power to back it up, no one really cares. So if this guy's wielding the authority of being an archbishop, he's got the guns to back it up too.
He powerful.
So he looks to you all and goes, if you excuse me, I have other business to attend to. I hope your travels are safe and you reach your destination swiftly.
Thank you. Good night.
And he excuses himself as you notice a couple of attendants are following him. You guys are led up to the main level and escorted, not in a get the fuck out kind of way, but just in that you said you want to leave, so they're showing you the way out. You are led back to the stables where the same stable hand who was there before takes out all of your horses. They seem to have been well taken care of, well fed, treated well, probably brushed down a little bit too. They all seem to be in good care and health.
Excellent.
It even looks like Sonoy was given some cuts of meat of something or another as he's sitting there finishing gnawing on some kind of bone that was left over from whatever they gave him.
Remind me next time we're here that to put a Bartleby in the stable. I think they'll feed him well.
You know, we could
You're
always
actually
feed him
fine.
to Sonoy.
Oh, true. Although I think we could always get Marshall one of those little carrying crates.
I'm sure we can carry him.
So, you guys mount up. I forget, did you bring the carriage or did you leave the carriage behind?
No, it was
We
just
just
the
rode
horses.
horses.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right, you decided to go for speed, not comfort.
Right.
went the
and,
distance.
originally,
Okay.
and originally,
You guys start riding back. Now, once again, I'm going to ask the question. Are you going to go the way of the road, which would be to the right and then northward to St. Angelo, which would take you past the trading post? Or are you going to go diagonally cross country to kind of get back?
Forgot that road does go east. Well, Walter's thought was still like staying to the road
Yeah.
the first time, and I assumed that, my spider sense has not changed.
Yeah.
Since I
Just wanna make
saw
sure.
the packs
Yeah.
around.
Atris will chime up and say, well, since it seems like we might have some unwanted watchers, I can offer to silence and cloak us the rest of the way if you so choose. We just, won't be talking the rest of the way.
Can you can you do that now?
Oh, yes, I can. And she'll cast Cloak the Gathering and use Unseen Presence to cloak the group.
Okay. The shadows seem to coalesce and wrap around each of you as the hypnotism takes place, where people are just prone to look over you and not notice that you're there.
To each other, we appear like the movie Predator.
Pretty much.
Now, this will be fine and all, and I presume you're going to also make it so that we're traveling a bit silently.
Oh, yes. Any last words before I...
So we'll have to stay in tight formation.
Yes. I don't think... actually, I think it's just... Sean, unless page 186 has it as an actual range. I don't think it doesn't give an actual range.
There's a range. There's a range. It's a radius.
Yeah.
It's either 15 or 20 feet, if I recall.
Let me just... Oh, I
remember it's definitely a radius because back when we were playing in person, we used an actual cup as the bubble.
No,
that
we used
Elizabeth
the cup for
used to
Elizabeth's.
cast.
No, we used the cup for Elizabeth's shield.
That's
Oh,
right.
we
That was for
expanded.
Shepherd's. That was for Shepherd's Watch. Yeah.
We expanded. It's
the cone-
obfuscate.
It just says...
Look beautiful.
It just says... Yeah, it just says nearby. It doesn't even give a number, but I'm going to assume it's DM's discretion on distance.
It's quietus. There we go. Silence of death. This power, which costs 1 blood point to activate, maintains a 20-foot radius of utter stillness.
Quatus, yes. Yeah, Quatus has a range. Cloak the Gathering does not.
Yes, I was referring to Quatus.
Oh,
sorry, I didn't get that part. Yes, Quatus does have a range.
But that's why I'm suggesting we need to stay in tight formation to stay silent.
I think what we've established in the past is for Cloak the Gathering to work, you have to at least be within eyesight and relatively close to the main source.
That's like that wasn't what I was questioning. I just was asking about one thing, and David thought I was asking about the other.
Okay.
All right.
So
now we're clear.
Do you spend the blood and cast both of these? Both the
Wait.
Go ahead.
It doesn't cover up the smell, correct?
Actually, not quite. So the whole thing about the obfuscate is that because it is a hypnotism, you don't notice that there's anything. So like smells, sound, as long as you're not doing anything overtly to break it, like banging pots and pans together or whatever. It is because it isn't actual invisibility, because it is a hypnosis, you ignore it altogether. You can't find it.
All I need to know.
All right.
So now something really obvious, like if we have certain flaws that you have to deal with, then you'd have to cross that bridge when you get to it. Anyway, you guys mount up. the horses make no noise as they go. You notice that the horses are a little bit uncomfortable with this. You all get a little bit of that, except for Wea's horse. Doesn't seem to give any kind of damn.
Wea's horse doesn't give a shit. What?
The horses are kind of put off that one of their major senses seem to have been cut off from them.
Can we nickname Wea's horse Honey Badger?
Don't give a fuck.
HB for short.
I mean, to be fair, only our sounds are closed, but they can still hear sounds from the outside, so it's not like they're completely deaf.
No, but it's still one of those things of it's still an animal getting used to its immediate surroundings going mute.
Mm.
Anyway, so you guys ride. I assume, are we going at fast as you possibly can? Are you going at a moderate pace, slow pace? How are we doing this?
I assume moderate pace, unless we're in dire straits.
I'm wanting our horses to be a little serviceable when we arrive. So
yeah,
since this is like a 4-hour trip or 5, by like normal moderate speed or whatever, it's long distance. Well, Walter's going to try to set a pace that's like as fast as that.
Okay, cool.
Not trying to run them ragged, but we want to get there in decent time.
Okay. You guys start riding. Go ahead and make a perception awareness roll.
I'm not too aware.
I'm aware.
Ooh.
Jesus. 7.
Oh, cool.
7 for Atris.
Wow.
2 for Walter. 2 for Liam.
Hold on.
It's good.
Hold on.
I
What was
promise
that,
I
Wea?
wasn't doing anything.
7.
7? Okay, so you and
Wow.
Atris are tied.
Is this insight at all?
No.
All right, fine. Acceptable. Give me a second. I need to re-roll 2 of them.
Oh my god, try to get insight.
7.
Okay, so I will say specifically
Jackpot.
Atris, Adele, and Wea. As you're riding back, it's very much the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. It's that feeling of being hunted for some purpose or another. You try and look around, and every so often you think you maybe catch a shape moving in the darkness, or the light reflecting off of an animal's eyes and being bounced back. But as soon as you think you see something, it's gone and it's not there, and you're not sure whether it's nerves or whether you're actually seeing something. But either way, it makes you a little bit uneasy on the ride back.
Okay.
And again, you have the comfort of feeling that you're pretty well hidden, but it's still one of those things of, while you know that lupines have some form of magic and stuff like that, the not knowing of what their power sets can be, what the limits to those powers are. If anything's possible, everything's possible. So
right,
it leads to that questioning. Okay, Noah.
Yes.
I will say that we are going to, between this game and next game, we will do a set of rolls to kind of go over what happened at the mines.
Okie doke.
You get to meet up. I will say that you did get to meet up with a couple of the fellow members of the clan who are loyal to Michael. Construction of the tunnel underneath Taylorsville to St. Angelo has been started. And it seems that they've even hired about 5 local gangrel. And by local, I mean from several nights' ride, but they came here, that apparently owed the clan a favor for some secrets that they kept secret and some stuff that they swept under the rug, so that way certain embarrassing facts would not come to light.
Her name was
And
Victoria.
they are using their gift of protean to help excavate underneath. They are to be a little bit more expedient in this, as Michael wants this being completed as quickly as vampirically possible without giving any indication of what's actually happening. And that's why outside contractors are good, because then fewer of you guys are noticed to be missing if it's people that aren't normally expected. You do know that Clementine is in a bit of a rage at something and has gone to meet with Reggie. To discuss something that had recently upset the elder. You also get an update of that the elder seems to be demanding that some of your clan, and he's specifically using ones that are loyal to Clementine, to trade messages with someone. There seems to be something that the elder is in communication with someone outside of the mine that isn't one of you guys. And that you are also hearing whispers that a certain amount of energy is needed for the elder to bridge the arch and come from where he is to actually physically be in Taylorsville. And you get the idea that what he's doing is testing the limits of his power and how much that lock is cracking, hence the plague and everything else, because the more of it that spreads, the more of it that he's surrounded by his own power and his own element, and it's basically paving the path for him to get to come out, which is
the world to know.
Which is very concerning to Michael and those loyal to him. It's a point of celebration for Clementine and her followers, but a point of dread and worry for those who are loyal to Michael. The phrase Methuselah's thirst has been given, and you ask around, and there's a couple of friends of yours that you've made since being here. And you notice that they're not around, and you ask if they're off on another mission, and the Nos that you're speaking to seems very saddened. And all they will tell you is that they were ordered by Clementine to go in through the arch, given the key to do so, and did not come back. And the prevailing fear is that the elder has the Methuselah's thirst, in which he only gains sustenance from the vitae of other kindred. And while it's not been confirmed yet, the prevailing theory among the other Nos is that Nos are basically being fed to this elder from time to time.
That's what it sounds like.
I will say that you guys do, there is a bit of conflict that happens, and like I said, we'll go into detail with that. There was a couple of very close calls. But you and Bartleby and Josephine were able to draw out a good amount of silver. There is, I would say, about $1,000 worth of silver that she was able to pull from it, but she wasn't able to do any more because any longer would just raise one too many red flags. And if you guys started dropping bodies left and right, whether they be rats or whether they be Nos loyal to Clementine, it would raise one too many questions, and then there'd be a full sweep for you guys and too many inquiries made. Because if you know that if there's one thing that Nos are good at, it's uncovering things that don't want to be uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
You, as someone who your connection to Michael has yet to be discovered, you notice that everyone that is loyal to Clementine is wearing a necklace that has a small vial about yay big on it, with a very dark, pretty much almost black liquid inside. And you've seen this before, but you're seeing more and more of them, and you're seeing that ones that were loyal to Michael, you notice that some of them looks like they've decided to convert, and it's one of those things of they're seeing which way the wind's blowing, and they're deciding to jump ship and do what they got to do to survive, even if that means betraying their old leader.
Mm.
So overall, I'll say the mission is successful. Again, we'll do some rolls to see how certain things panned out. I will say that once you reunite with the group, you can tell them that there was a couple of really close calls, one or two Nos and one or two groups of rats that you did have to silence in order to keep your guys' secret, and you figure that you buried them well enough. Josephine did one of her abilities that she called the Hungry Earth, that basically, once you disposed of them, swallowed the bodies up. Now, luckily, vampires, as they die, slowly turn to ash, or quickly turn to ash, depending on how old they are. But as far as the rats and everything else, she got the earth to kind of swallow it up and hide the evidence of what happened. Bartleby's seen better nights. He was not happy about the amount of rats that were everywhere. It made him extremely uncomfortable, is putting it lightly. He was battling his phobia the entire night, but he kept it together. You get the idea that there were moments when he was getting ready to flee, and then his eyes would kind of gloss over for a second.
Did he gain exposure therapy points for this?
More like that raw nerve was constantly flicked. But it seems like whatever Liam did to whammy his brain, every time he hit a breaking point where he was going to run for it, his eyes would gloss over and he would re-center himself and dig his heels in a little bit deeper.
Reinitializing.
You did well.
I hope so.
So, you guys ride back, and you're heading back to Taylorsville as well. You guys have to go a little bit slower, just because if you try and go for all expediency, you're going to run into the giant swarms of the rats. You keep the rest of the party cloaked with your abilities. The rats don't seem to stop you. You're able to actually walk through them and they separate. There is one or two times where they actually do seem a bit aggressive, and you're getting the idea that those that don't have the necklace are treated a little bit different than those that are. And so even for you, you get the idea that unless you swear outward fealty to Clementine and the Elder, your freedom of passage might not exist for much longer. It's starting to wear thin.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much people are not allowed to be Switzerland on this. It is quickly a weeding out of the changing of sides. And you know from past experience that the only thing that was keeping Clementine from just all in all wiping out Michael and everyone else is one, the number of secrets that he knows, because Clementine's a new addition. She actually only showed up within the last 10 years or so. Whereas Michael has been leader of this Warren of Nos for well over 100 years, if not more. So the things he knows, the secrets he and his followers have, there's value to them, and just erasing them would be getting rid of that leverage. Plus, before, she didn't really have the numbers for a full out and out civil war between you guys. So it was one of those pushing you guys to the brink, but not crossing that line to just have it be an all in all revolt. However, the numbers are starting to swing in her favor and the Elder's favor, and you're getting the idea that with that is also a growing confidence that means that her side's getting a little bit more bold.
What's her posture like?
You don't know.
Oh my God.
So, but you guys are heading back to St. Angelo. The other group, you guys do see, after a couple hours of riding, you do see the trading post coming up as you ride past it.
I'm gonna look real hard at it. Do I see signs of life?
Perception alertness, standard.
I'm not slowing down, to be fair.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that too.
Okay.
Oh, hey, another die. I got 3 successes.
Okay.
Four.
You both do notice smoke coming from the chimney, and there do appear to be lights on inside. I mean, we're talking about frontier, so like dimly lit, but there is some kind of soft glow of light coming on from the inside. Who it is?
Real tempted to break the office gate, but I'm just gonna smile to myself.
Who it is and who's taking up residence, you don't know, but there's someone in there.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Well, I think we're just gonna book it back to San Angelo.
Okay. It takes you guys about another 3 hours to get there. You do hear one howl in the distance, and it goes answered by another one. But other than that, you don't notice the close tracking and following that you guys had before. And you eventually do make it back where you see St. Angelo up ahead.
Yay, home.
What would you guys like to do?
When we're seeing that and we're kind of at an area where we don't see anyone else, Walter's gonna go and stretch real loud.
As at least for Walter, he fizzles back into plain sight.
Well, shit. That's. Are we silent? How does that? Am I audible?
Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's true. No, you're still invisible because you just sit there as loud as you can. Go.
I'm gonna ride real hard ahead of the group actually, and then do that.
Okay.
So I can hear
so
galloping.
originally you try and you more so it as you then ride ahead of the group, purposely make a loud noise and fizzle back into scene.
And then I'll like slow my horse back down a little bit while everyone kind of catches up.
Okay.
Ages will just drop everything and just chuckle out loud. I was like, oh, you have to make the loudest noise, don't you?
You know how hard it was not to talk to y'all?
I mean, you could have talked, you just wouldn't be able to hear anything.
Atris, for just a little bit of background, the first time that we were being hunted by werewolves and we were trying to get through, Walter shouted, "What are you waiting for?"
I told them to get on with it, and they did. Now who's in charge of the werewolves?
No one right now.
I mean, maybe we don't want to be in. Last time you gave them an order, they followed it, and it wasn't too great for us. Yeah, so we're back here, but I didn't want us to pop into view in front of anyone. Shall we?
Yes,
I do need to go back to the
back in.
Yes, so I need to go back to the house.
As you guys did notice, there is a lot less lights. Well, actually, it's pretty late. Now that I'm thinking, like, you guys got up, you talked for a little bit. I'd say then 5 hours after that,
it's like 1 a.m. or something.
So it's like 1 a.m. So at this point, there's really not a whole lot of lights on in anything. Most people have gone home. You do still hear noises coming from the church, and you hear the moaning and people coughing and hacking, a couple of people crying, babies screaming.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm. You visit your friend over at the Rose recently at all? I'm actually looking between Atris and Liam, asking this.
I haven't. We actually haven't stopped by at all since we've been back in town.
Huh.
Well, it has been a while. I haven't rented a room from the Rose in a while from Madame Rose.
I know we got bigger things on our mind. It's just hope the whole town ain't just ground to a halt with all this.
I would assume business during a plague is either really booming or slow.
Hard to guess which.
Anything we have won't be worse than what you've already contracted.
Oh God!
I'd assume it's both at this point.
Yeah, you can just get a whole cocktail, all of it at once.
It's up to you guys. I mean, as you're riding through, you're starting to come to the main drag, unless you decide you want to ride around the outskirts. You do know that the kind of funny thing about St. Angelo is the church and the whorehouse is very much on polar opposites of the main drag.
Because during a duel at high noon, one person's going to be in front of the church, one person's going to be in front of the whorehouse. It's just how life works.
They have an eternal showdown.
But Liam does want to actually make his way back to the homestead because he wants to start more so going through the Lupine journal with the Bible and trying to see if there's any more that needs to get ciphered out of that.
You want to study? What a nerd.
Oh, my friend, as I've said, the strongest don't always win. It's usually the most clever.
I usually win.
Oh, yeah.
Walter stares off in the distance.
Yeah. You win, but you need someone behind you to do it.
There's a little cross-eyed.
All right. You guys head back to the homestead. Go ahead and what's the marching order? Who's riding up ahead? Who's
Oh. If no
I'll
one's
be
ahead,
middle pack.
fuck it.
I'm
Okay.
going home, so.
So Liam, you're up front unless someone else wants to ride out ahead of Liam.
Well, why do we need to be in
I'll-
riding order? I'm splitting off.
Wouldn't you like to know? We're following you. I'm following you.
I'm so confused as to what's going on right now.
Yeah, well, you're gonna find out after we answer
Liam.
our storyteller's question.
Liam, I need you to make a perception alertness roll, please.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go.
Alertness.
Alertness.
My brain does that every time you say perception alertness.
Like Perceptigate and
I'm feeling very palert.
4. There is a light on the downstairs part on the homestead.
Oh. I'm gonna open up my nostrils.
Okay. You definitely smell like the fireplace has been used relatively recently. And you do see a horse hitched up nearby you guys. Actually, it would be closer to where the barn is.
I'm going to dismount my horse and go into obfuscate
Okay.
and circle around the house, try and peer in
Okay.
windows, see if I see anything.
Okay. Perception plus investigation.
You didn't wave for me not to follow you, did you? Because as you do all that, like, I'm just right on your heels.
4. Yeah. You see
Well, on your horse's heels.
You see on the couch, apparently asleep, with their hat on over their eyes, and embers slowly dying down in the fireplace. The familiar shape of Henry.
Yay, he's alive.
I'm gonna shoot him in the leg.
I mean, you can roll if you're going to.
I will
No.
torpedo him like Raiden from Mortal Kombat before he can pull the trigger.
I'm invisible. You don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'll say, Walter, you come up, and then
True.
everyone else, since no one was like not going back to the homestead, you see Liam get down, kind of go invisible a little bit, and then
Yeah, of course I stopped following after that. But I kind of look. I'm gonna be like curious and trepidatiously like stepping toward the home, but you know, we're there though.
yeah, you guys are all back at the homestead.
So I'm just gonna turn around. Do I see Walter like kind of nearby me?
Yeah.
I think it's Henry.
Actually, we can whisper and stay obfuscated if he makes the whisper plus stealth roll.
Oh no, I know.
Can
I
you?
popped back into view.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Technically, you can whisper as long as anyone that wasn't there, like someone that you're trying to hide from, can't hear it.
I didn't know that.
And Walter definitely
Yes.
saw me go invisible because he was right behind me.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
still technically
my bad.
invisible.
But
Also, I suppose that would be general knowledge for anyone who's under my or Noah's entity presence is that if you want to whisper anyone in the group, it is a whisper plus stealth roll.
that makes sense in previous scenes. All right, good. Yeah. So I just get like happy looking, and it really, it's him. Is it really him? It's him.
I think so.
Hey.
Shall we
I go, hey, that's great. And then I
How loud
walk
are
straight
you
up to
being,
the front
Walter?
door. I'm not shouting it, but I'm in a speaking tone boisterously. How does that
Okay.
play?
stop?
High or low?
Hi.
No. Okay. So Henry, Liam, you kind of see this because you're by the window looking in. Henry jumps up from the couch, pulls 2 pistols from his waistcoat, and shoots off a round. Walter.
I mean, it's 2 pistols, and we're both right there.
Yeah.
I'm through a wall, but I said, hey, all right. And he can tell what direction I am.
Yeah, it's going to be at a high difficulty for
Roughly,
him.
I'm sure.
There's literally a wall that's going to be basically acting as armor. And
And blind firing.
yeah. No. You just hear it impact on the other side of the wall.
Oh, son of a bitch!
As you all hear gunshots coming from the homestead.
I just look over at Walter like, I hope he didn't hit your horse. Statue.
Flashed. Wow. All right. Well, I whipped to my horse looking at it and then back at the house.
Statue.
So one could say that first we watched you whip, and then looking at the horse, we watched it neigh-neigh.
If you don't stop now, I will make a lupine cone joke. So help me.
This technically did.
He has it. He has.
So anyway, you hear Henry.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and step where I can see you.
And I'm just gonna like in the window, just gonna be like, hi.
Who's I?
I said
Mr.
hi.
W.
He kind of reaches at the little table that he was by the couch, and he grabs his glasses and he puts them on. He's like, "Oh, it's you guys, right? Sorry about that. Didn't know it was you. Can't be too careful. Recently.
No, you can't. We
Hope you don't mind. Given that you kind of let me crash here before, hope you don't mind that I kind of came back and made myself at home.
It's good to see you. I'm glad we can stand where you can see us now that you actually got your specs on.
Oh, right. He puts the pistols away. They are his old pistols, the ones that are the
Shiny,
very
ornate.
well engraved, where it almost looks like ivy growing on the barrel of the.
Should we continue this conversation inside the house, not through a wall and a window?
Well, I mean, it is your house, so I don't think I have to give you permission to enter.
No, I'm asking Walter.
Since you put the guns away, I guess I'll take that as a welcome.
And he gets up and welcomes you guys in. And yeah, you see him, and he looks better than you've ever seen him before. He has since gotten a haircut. He is clean. There is no sign whatsoever of any kind of injury. He is no longer gaunt looking. He's definitely a lean, muscular, kind of like the Flash from the CW Flash. Like, he's that lean, muscular, but he's no longer anorexic. He seems in perfect health.
My character think he's gained a sizable amount of weight.
Oh yeah. Actually, go ahead and give me a int plus medicine roll.
Medicine. I was thinking of combat experience here, but that makes sense. All right, yeah. Oh, it's a nice one. 4.
Yeah, he's definitely gained, in a healthy way, more weight than would seemingly be possible, even if he was eating the best 3 square meals a day in the short amount of time since you guys last saw him. Not to mention that the extent of, you guys bandaged him up as best you could, but the whole reason you had to take him to a doctor is this guy had several broken bones, possible internal bleeding, head
One of the broken bones was his leg.
Hmm?
One of the broken bones was his leg, right?
Right. So you know from experience and from your time tourniqueting people up during your combat days, it should be weeks and weeks before he was starting to look, and even then there would probably be some bruising, some scars, something, because even when you guys found him in the prison, he was ridden hard and put away wet. Like, they had worked him over pretty well. And then to add to the vision that Adele had of the conflict that he, as an injured man, then suffered on top of it, where the guy was sitting there beating him while tied to a chair. There's no way he should be looking this good.
I file in and make room for our party to follow, assuming they do.
I went inside already.
Does everyone else go inside?
Yep.
Okay.
You're looking Rider in Rain. A lot Rider in Rain, actually.
Feeling good.
Does Rain look wrong?
Feeling like my old self.
I bet. I mean, you look really, really well. Like you've healed. Like you had a broken leg last time I saw you.
Yeah, I think this is weird coming from us, but how'd you do that?
You forget that, my good friend Wea, that before I was a librarian and a record keeper, I was an assassin for the Inquisition. And as a practitioner of the true faith, I was able to tap into some of the abilities that you noticed that they were able to use against you to help heal myself.
And you were able to kill an assassin in the process. Oh, I'm sorry. I left my my bush outside. I forgot to beat around it.
Okay. You all did find my note then.
Found your note,
Yes,
found a corpse, and have a very lovely spell that lets me see through the eyes of someone who died at the moment of death. That was an interesting experience.
Go ahead and give me a perception plus empathy roll, Liam.
Oh, can I do it too?
I guess so. You're standing there.
Since I have decent empathy now.
If you would like to flex your new stat, you're welcome to do so, Wea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come on, Chad dice.
I have strengthened my Care Bear stare.
4 successes. Wea, how'd you do?
I did the same.
Okay. Both of you notice it is for a split second, but there's that twinge of worry that goes across his face when you tell him that you guys are able to see through the eyes of the corpse. But as soon as you recognize it on his face, it's gone. Like, it's there for a split second, and then he regains composure.
That was quite the party trick to leave that note.
Well, I didn't want you all to worry too much, and there were some things I had to take care of. So I had to make sure that there wasn't more of them and that they were not going to be on my trail.
Oh, speaking of more of them, and I pull out the ledger. This might help.
Oh, so you found that too. You guys were thorough.
We were, and actually part of what I was hoping to accomplish this evening involved another journal of theirs. One mostly about the sniffing mongrels that are in the high plains nearby.
So you're looking to take them on?
Oh.
Well, them, yes. And actually, now that you're here, we could use some additional backup.
Feel like killing wolf people?
And he kind of stops for a second and goes, look, I owe you all a great debt for getting me out of there and choosing to stay with me. And I'm willing to help you do whatever research and prep you have to do for this, but as best I understand it, there are elderly people, children, things like that in that village as well, not just warriors. And it doesn't quite sit right with me to do that. I'm not going to pass judgment on you all. That's your business, but I don't know that I can be a direct part of that. And I need to get back east and see if my grandfather is still alive. It's
Kinda
been
thought
a
you'd
long
already gone to
time.
do that.
No, that would take me. I would have been gone for quite a bit longer if I was going to ride all the way back there.
Imagine how surprised we were to find you here.
Well, I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye. Proper.
Very considerate of you.
Well, among other things that we found, there's information about a weapon that werewolves seem to be violently afraid of.
And he thinks for a second and goes, yes, that one scroll, the weapon of the beast. Liam, you know this from your time, because of the group, you've spent the most time kind of picking Henry's brain and getting to know him and seeing if you could embrace him.
It's my little brown chicken, brown cow.
You know for a fact that he has what's now, in modern times, would be known as an eidetic memory, that he can read something once and perfectly recall in exact detail what he read, what he saw. If he sees something, he can sit there and draw it from scratch and perfectly recreate it. It was one of the things that made him useful as a librarian and deadly as a hired gun for the Inquisition, because basically he sees your face once and he'll always remember it, or he gets a peek at a piece of paper that you never want him to see, and he doesn't have to steal it or copy it down. He just has it memorized.
Oh, he make a fantastic Bernardo team.
So because of that, he knows exactly which scroll you are referring to, as you do get the idea that he, in his boredom of being in the library, literally read every piece of writing that was in that entire library.
No, I don't necessarily expect you to fight, but no, help with research would be quite advantageous.
And now you understand that there's no guarantee that this weapon is even on this continent, that this was one of the many texts that were brought over from the Vatican, and for all I know, it could be anywhere in the world.
I have an odd faith in my storyteller god.
He looks at you confused and he goes, far be it for me to question your species' religious practices.
Oh, it gets pretty weird.
So you don't know much about it then, other than it possibly existing?
I didn't say that way. I just said that that particular text doesn't really do more than reference its existence and hint at its effects. However, this library is not the only one I've ever seen. I myself got to travel to the Vatican more than once and get to peruse some of their tomes. Now, it would take me a lifetime to read everything they have, but if you give me a little bit of time and thinking, I might see if there was anything else in connection to this text that might be of use to you all.
I suppose anything's helpful for us at the moment. We do have a little bit of time, but not much.
Speaking of which, are you sure you all want to keep your stakes here? I don't know if you've been around of what's been happening in town, but it doesn't look good. And my gut tells me that's not completely natural either, and doesn't seem like the property value is going to get much better around here.
Well, that's one of the problems we're hoping to fix.
You guys have a heavy and full plate in front of you.
Oh, yes, it's maybe rethink my contract a couple times.
Seems to just keep getting fuller and fuller, the plate.
Good thing we're real hungry.
Oh, I'm curious about something. I just don't know how it would affect us or our food supply for that matter. I, for the most part, have been able to take an investigation of the local town water supply, and there is definitely a mixture of blood of our kind, which is very likely contributing to the plague that's at hand. If your abilities are still intact, you might be able to at least consecrate the well, but if that water gets into the public, we may be out of food source, at least locally.
Well, I can tell you for most wells, they usually connect to a underground water supply. If the supply is being tainted, you have to go back to the source to fix I can try and do what I can for what's in the well right now, but new water is going to flow in as it's drawn from, and you're going to have the same problem again. But have any of you tried going down into the well?
None of us have no.
I can have an animal do it for us. Or maybe find something that digs underground and find this underground passage for us.
I mean, also fair enough, we don't actually need to breathe. One of us very much could go down there.
Might be worth it. Might be dangerous. I don't know. I'll also say I can look something up, but I wasn't one of the priests per se. I mean, I could say the rites and see if that does anything to the water, but as I don't fully understand the nature of the illness, I'm not sure 100% if that would fix the problem. I can't guarantee anything, but I'm willing to try.
I suppose try is better than nothing. At the least you can affect a little bit change, to the end of some time.
Or tomorrow or tonight, one of us can go well hopping.
Swimming, fun.
I feel like that's something we really should do with our time remaining. At least stave off.
If you're going to do something, I would recommend, I'm not saying it has to be tonight, but this time of night would probably be a good idea, while posting maybe a couple of people looking out, just so that way the last thing you want to do is, when times like this, locals get a little bit itchy with the trigger fingers and are looking for something or someone to blame, and the last thing you want to be seen doing is messing with the town water supply.
Too true.
Well,
they'd have to whammy a few people to stand guard.
Stand guard, but I mean, we could always put on a show.
Would you mind?
No, we could always premiere Miss Barato's lovely voice in town for a large-scale audience, to distract from these difficult times. Really giving the gift of Adele to this poor, confused, and inflated town.
Well, best I heard, the sheriff has banned large public gatherings due to the illness. Doesn't mean that people couldn't listen from outside their windows and things like that if you're looking to make a distraction.
That could work. I am quite distracting.
She has an enchanting voice.
He smiled.
Death Caddy.
Yes, I'm very well aware. That could work. In the meantime, what is it you want me to research? I can stay here for another week or so, but then I really do need to be heading back east.
Well, I definitely don't read or speak Latin, and that's what this tome that Octavian gave to us is in. Plus, I have the journal here to compare notes to. And we've already broken some of the cipher that's in here with this old Bible that we had in the library. So any additional information would just be very helpful.
Sure, I can, especially I can work on that during the daylight hours while all of you are resting. Might as well be getting something done.
You hear anything more about the weapon of the beast? Pass that along.
I will.
We're looking for something more useful than silver hurts them.
I mean, you're lucky you have that. But I'll tell you this. I wasn't part of the division of our troops that were investigating and observing the lupines. Each group under each general was usually kept under wraps, so that way if any one of us was ever captured, not any one person has the full information to give anyone. But from what I hear, even for your kind, they are something to behold when they meet in group. And we heard that their numbers were swelling. This was, of course, right before I got thrown in prison and shanghaied into a experimental ritual that I didn't want to be part of. But from what I heard, your best bet is going to be a divide and conquer. You got to get them where they're not all unified against you.
Oh.
Separate and attack from multiple angles.
Picking them off one or two at a time, getting them to fight amongst themselves, giving them a bigger bone to chase. Any of those, all of those, are going to be what you guys are going to need if you want to, frankly, survive this.
Sounds like we're definitely not going to dive in and just defeat them all at once. We're going to have to probably just draw them out one or two at a time, but we definitely can't do more than two if it's going to be all of us at once.
And I'll tell you that's something that we were even trying to figure out of how do you separate a pack animal from its pack? Their very nature is to act in group. There is one more thing I wanted to talk to you all about, which is part of the reason I came back. I'm concerned because, again, from what little I knew from what all the generals were working on, I don't know where your guys' allegiances lie other than to each other. But one of the things we were researching was your kind and your activities in the local areas. And there seems to be a strong contingent of all of you that were coming up from the south. What was making them cautious and kind of holding them at bay was our presence, and then also the additional threat of the lupines so close. You guys kind of took care of us, and if you're planning on taking care of them too, there's going to be a power vacuum. And everything I know, it tells me that they're going to try and fill it.
Oh, let's just feed them to the elder.
Yeah, I think that would be the next move.
I'm just saying, whatever you decide to do, I'm warning you now that they're going to quickly find out that there's an opening of opportunity and probably going to seize it at their earliest convenience. So you got to have, once you get done with the lupines, you can't rest on your haunches. You're going to have to come up with a contingency plan for...
Oh, yes.
Okay, Henry, I will be clear with you. We have not had rest in the 2 months since we arrived in this waterhole state. We had one night where nothing happened. I think.
No rest for the wicked, my friend.
Well, no one mourns, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna go straight from this task here to the next one. If you weren't down to put some extra silver in between the Lycan's fur, we do have things coming up after we could use help with, but I understand you got your own mission that you're on your way to.
Yeah, interesting choice of words.
There's going to be a power vacuum in this area. We're the ones creating it. And it ain't going to be filled with our enemies.
If I can check in on my grandfather and whether he's alive or dead, get certain affairs in order, I'll try and come back as quickly as I can. Or if you all want, you can come and visit me. I can give you the directions of at least where his home was. I'd probably be somewhere around there.
I do have a request, and I have no idea if you can accomplish this or not. Those guns of yours, can you possibly do that to another set?
Unfortunately, no. They were made for me, not by me. My abilities power them, so I'm kind of the charge for them. But I'm afraid I'm not the one who made them. They were just made for me.
Oh, well, I was hoping for a gift for Bartleby, but never mind.
He's welcome to travel to the Vatican and see what they want to give him.
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to experiment on a ghoul.
Well, they definitely experimented on one of your kind, and that's how we got
the man in black.
Yes.
Good old Jericho.
Yes, Jericho. But it looks like we have research to do. So let's see what I can put together for you all.
Thanks for your help. It's good to see you again.
Likewise. Is there anyone who's kind of looking Henry over or kind of studying him a little bit closer?
Yes,
Walter is. I wasn't gonna jump into like the empathy role earlier, but Walter's not entirely comfy with his new state. It's jarring.
Yeah, H's would like to investigate.
Okay. Anyone who wants to make a perception empathy difficulty is going to be 8.
Oh my.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh, literally one success.
Okay.
I don't like my roll. Can I take it back? Can I
Yeah.
can I
Oh,
do
you had
another?
that opportunity.
Should
You'd
I
have to
spend my
find
fate?
Gene- You better
I'm
find
gonna
Geneva again.
I can always spend my fate turn to let him reroll his.
True. Technically, that would.
I've tasted enough poo in my life to know where this is going. 1, 2, 3. I have 5 successes though.
Okay.
On an 8 roll difficulty. Yeah.
Anybody else, or is that it? Cool. Aegis, it's hard to pick up. It's just, I mean, there's definitely something weird about it from just a physiological level. But then again, you don't really know about the abilities of the. You didn't even know that the Inquisition had people that had supernatural abilities. You just thought that they were all human soldiers. So this is kind of news to you. So
It's just a weird vibe I'm getting.
yeah.
I mean, she fought with us. She fought the Inquisition where they all had superhuman
Well, yeah.
abilities.
Right, but what I'm saying is that was the first time she realized that that was even a thing. Other than that, there were only rumors and legends kind of deal as far as she was concerned. Walter, you're looking at Henry and you're listening to him talk, and definitely he definitely does seem pleased to see you guys. That doesn't seem to be false. However, when he talked about how he healed, something about that rubbed you the wrong way, and then through the entire conversation, he seems to have his guard up about something. There is definitely something of a barrier or a smoke screen that he is putting between him and you guys.
I'm gonna roll a die for this. Hold on.
Okay.
My self-control is very high right now. I elbow Wea while we're talking here, and then a little later I kind of elbow Liam, and both times what I do as we're conversing here is kind of like look at him and then look back, and just kind of do it like less flamboyantly than I just did, which wasn't that crazy. And at the end of this, if we kind of reach this point in the dialogue, Walter's going to say to Henry, you really are looking a little changed, a little like a new man maybe. I know you kind of made your resolutions after the mission, but you doing all right with your choice?
It's a new chapter of my life. You give yourself to something full-heartedly, and it betrays you. But sure, me and the big guy upstairs, we're good. After all, it wasn't his fault of what happened to me. He can't control what people do in his name. So I guess he decided to not hold my transgressions against me either, and so I still have a little bit of the old spark left.
Does his answer feel different than his guardedness has felt up to now?
Yeah, does he sound genuine?
I'll say for this, make a perception plus subterfuge roll. Difficulty is still going to be 8 because he's pretty good at lying.
All right. Oh, is he? All right.
Because Liam was talking to him privately when they were bringing Liam back people to eat and whatnot. Liam remembers how angry Henry was,
Mhm.
particularly, and the fact that he was in the process of possibly losing his abilities. So I would also like to make this roll.
Sure.
Because what he just said did not feel right.
Walter got 2
Okay.
on this roll.
One success, Waya?
Yeah, I got 1.
Okay. Walter got 2. Okay.
I got 6.
Okay. Walter and Waya, he's hard to read. Like, in the sense that he's definitely something about what he said feels wrong, but it's hard to see which point of it was. There's definitely elements of truth in it, which is making it harder to pick out which parts are the lie and which parts is he lying? Is he trying to convince himself? Like, it's hard to tell if he's intentionally lying to you guys or if he's lying to himself and trying to convince himself, and that's what you're picking up on. And even then, which part of it, which element of it, it's, as a guy that you get the idea was a hitman for literally one of the most powerful organizations on the planet, he was pretty good at keeping a poker face. So
Takes a poker player to read a poker player.
Liam.
Not today, it doesn't.
Liam, you as someone who spent more private moments with Henry with his guard down.
And by the way, before you say this, Liam will not change his facial expression at all.
Okay, I'm going to need you to make a
performance subterfuge.
That would be it's going to be charisma performance.
Same amount of dice. Seven.
Yeah. Besides your skills, it helps that you are a vampire, so it usually causes you guys more energy to remember to do the old human things like blink and move your muscles when you don't want to. So you kind of allow that vampiric undead thing to take effect, so that way you can just be kind of stone-faced about this. There's definitely a lot. Like, he is directly lying about not only the nature of how he healed himself, but how he feels about his relationship with God. This whole let bygones be bygones. Oh yeah, I mean, God have an understanding. That's a load of crap. And you're able to pick up it is extremely subtle, but only because you yourself are a keen bullshit artist of just pack that pain down so it don't exist kind of thing. Super healthy. You notice it just because you see yourself in him.
I do.
Yes. In many, in definition A and B. You see yourself in him of a young man that is disillusioned, that is angry at the world, that feels that the world unjustly stole many things from him. And you obviously, it doesn't give you some magical insight into what the truth is. You just know that you weren't getting it. However, as I did say with Walter's role earlier, his willingness to help you guys and his reason for not wanting to attack, when he mentioned not wanting to directly attack the Lupine village, that all seemed genuine. that in those moments, his desire to help you guys, his gratitude for getting him out of there, that all seems sincere. Other than that, you do not lit on in the slightest that any of this is obvious to you. So, everybody else. Henry's going to get right to work where he's going to sit down with the parchment, with the journal of the general that focused on the lupine actions, and the old Bible that was the cipher for the numbers in that journal. And he's just going to start researching. So unless you guys ask him other things or distract him with something else, he gets laser focused into that research, and he takes out some he kind of scrambles around and finds some paper and some writing instruments and start scribbling down notes and jotting down little things, and every so often you hear him go, okay, and he starts muttering to himself in a combination of Latin and English and Spanish, and there's a couple other different languages that he throws in there.
Splat-Tinglish.
Yes.
Excellent.
Sounds like something from Nickelodeon. Next on Splat English.
I think I had that once in college. It burned.
So, what would you all like to do? Now, here's the thing. You know that you're looking at about 5 more nights till Asmodeus is scheduled to arrive in town.
Only what? Only 2 or 3 more nights for the steel to get to Josephine's.
I was going to
Correct.
say, yeah, we don't think we'll see Noah and Josephine for 3
the steel that
nights?
Liam procured from his sire's business, the Silver Trading Company,
my bad,
will be back in 2 or 3 nights. You weren't given a time frame other than that they were going to try and make it back or no later than when the Asmodeus was supposed to be there. You weren't given an exact, okay, we're coming back at this time, because since they didn't know how difficult this mission was going to be, they basically were like, okay, it's going to take as long as it's going to take.
If I thought that they were going to ride there, do this like extraction thing for like just some matter of minutes or hours one night and then come back immediately after, how long would I think that trip would take them? 2 days, 3 days?
I would say 3 days. If there's the time it takes where it's almost pretty much a little over a full day to get down.
Okay.
It's
like quite a bit of time.
To Taylorsville. Then it's however long it takes them to be stealthy and whatever to extract the silver, and then a day back, and that's if they didn't run into any kind of complications or anything.
Or if they just didn't stay longer. I mean, I might just mentally add it.
Yeah, maybe they come back and they're like, "Hey guys, we took care of the eldest situation. It's good. We're, it's all done. Easy peasy."
Josephine
just has his head mounted on her sledgehammer kind of thing, is walking back. Noah's riding a wave of rats.
Other than me, because I wanted to do the research too, so I would actually be inclined to help Henry do the research. There's nothing else I wanted to do tonight.
Okay.
Does anyone want to maybe go check out that well? Since now would be the time to maybe poke around a little bit.
Oh, I wouldn't mind coming along.
Come with you. I think it's better than just sitting around here.
We'll just do a quick look. We won't commit to anything until we get more information. But
that, and if we do reconnaissance tonight, we can possibly wait for Noah to get back tomorrow evening, and then actually have him help us with the full investigation.
Of course.
All right.
Adele, what are you doing?
Go with.
Okay. Yeah, especially if you guys are gonna keep with that plan that you batted around of Adele being a distraction or something like that. But okay, so then Liam, you stay behind to help with Noah's research. Everybody else heads into town to check out the well. Noah, you guys are making your way back. As I said, you notice that the rats, while letting you pass, are acting a lot more hostile. And there's one or two moments where you're afraid that they're gonna see through the illusion of Bartleby and Josephine being hidden under your obfuscation. And so it's a little bit more nerve-wracking than you were expecting. I need you to make a wits plus survival roll for me, please.
Split the party 3 ways. That's how you're supposed to do it.
You're muted, Atris, if you're talking to us.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm talking to Daniel Cronin.
Okay.
I have 2 successes.
Okay. It's herring a couple of times. There's 1 or 2 times where the rats, you're trying to read their body language. You're trying to figure out what is the best way to get this group moving. But you are able to navigate in just such a way. Also, go ahead and give me a manipulation plus performance.
That's a 2 again.
You're able to be very aware of your body language and try not to seem suspicious. So you're hasting without looking like you're hasting. You're hasting casually. But there's 1 or 2 times where it's a close call, but because you see what the naked eye probably wouldn't, but thousands and thousands of holes that you know that lead to these rat burrows that are just underneath the surface. And every so often you'll see one pop up here, 3 or 4 crawl and come up one hole, look at you, then go down another hole somewhere else. You get the idea that at a whim or at a trigger, tens of thousands of these things would just pour from underneath the ground and swarm whatever's there. It is very much the siege of Taylorsville. It is very much the cutting this off from the rest of the world. I will say that you do notice something, though. You notice fresh tracks of a horse leading to where the encampment of the miners is. Which is weird because most people, if a horse came through the torn, and you do actually see, as you start to go out, you see really old, both human and animal bones that have just been picked apart. Give me a This is another int. Let's do int plus investigation.
Out of Perceptigate?
Yeah, let's do perception plus investigation because there's no book involved.
What's the difficulty?
Standard.
I have 4 successes.
The corruption of the land itself has gotten worse since the last time you were in Taylorsville. You guys, from your suggestion, actually did not go up to the entrance of the mine, but rather to where the mound of earth is from the back side, just so that way you went somewhere where last you checked there were no NOS tunnels escaping out this way, so that way there'd be the least amount of foot traffic. So what you were mainly looking out for was just the rats, so that way you didn't have to look out for every so often there was a patrol, and like I said, there was a combat that happened, but it's a lot less than walking up the front door kind of thing. You know that the river that runs down here, there's this film, this almost like black tar sludge that's now over the top of the ice that's there. All the trees in the surrounding area have withered and died. They are brittle to the touch. If you touch the bark of the trunks, it breaks apart almost like old
Man, will you?
Yes, but old embers that have cooled, and you can just break them apart like old charcoal kind of thing. Just dried husks. It's winter, so I mean that's part of it. But like even the snow seems to be this weird black slush, and you notice these black and red fungi that are growing out of different places, and you hear no animals other than the rats, which they themselves, when the elder originally summoned all these rats, they were just rats. But you're noticing that one, every so often you see one that looks unusually large, like we're talking yay big. And the ones that you're getting, some of them still look like rats, but a lot of them, you're noticing these black pustule sores on them. And they just look where bits of the fur are coming off, and almost looks like they have mange or something like that. Before, this corruption was directly around the very mine itself. You're now noticing that it's actually been spreading out, and this heavy corruption is now a good 2 miles around, spreading out from the mine, and you're very much getting that it's seeping up from the earth itself, that it's bubbling up to the surface almost like oil or tar bubbling up from under the ground. It makes walking difficult. It is a horrid smell, even by your standards of living with a bunch of NOS. It's the best way you can put it is it smells like disease. It smells like illness and corruption. Luckily, you're a vampire, so you can turn off your nose. But you notice that Bartleby and Josephine have to end up taking some fabric and putting it across their mouth and nose. And even then, there was 1 or 2 times where your obfuscate was almost broken because they're having to basically control coughing and hacking, as the very air itself almost seems to be polluted. And their eyes are red and watering. You're trying to get them out of there as much, but then you notice these horse tracks, and there shouldn't be a horse that's surviving this. As a matter of fact, you guys purposely hitched up your horses quite a ways back so that way they wouldn't alert the rats and other things that you were coming, other than you. It's up to you. Do you want to go investigate this? You know that would mean a little bit more time that Josephine and Bartleby have to be in this area, but it's going to the direction where the human survivors had kind of set up camp when they had tried to send for help, and all their attempts at help had been stopped by the Raps.
Is that camp further away from the mine, or is it kind of back in the direction of the mine?
It's further away from the mine, but in a different so the mine is more towards the east. The camp, because originally the camp was right in front of the mine. Once the corruption started, they all fled and went a little bit more west, but that's when the rats all came and they were kind of trapped and weren't able to get any further than that. However, you want to go more northwest in order to get back to St. Angelo. So it's further away from the mine, but not quite in the right direction you want to go to make if you were trying to make a fast track to get back to St. Angelo.
I think I'm going to point it out to them.
Okay.
Point out that there's been a horse, and it's the only living creature I've seen or any signs of any life near here. But I would suggest that we keep on moving since we have so much silver to move.
Well, hun, well, that's interesting and all. I don't care much about a horse. And I'm going to roll his courage. Okay. Despite his phobia and the visible uncomfortableness that Bartleby has, he seems very curious about this. And, well, it was part of our original mission to try and help out these people. And I know the group hasn't really checked in on the humans here in many weeks. I feel like they would want to know what's going on. And so but it's probably best that we get out of here. That's something that we can investigate later, I guess. They're gonna hate me if that. Yeah. And so he begrudgingly lets it go to give way to the reason of expedience to get out of there. All right, back to the group visiting the well.
Well.
By this point, after you've been talking with him, it's pushing 1:30, 1:45-ish. You don't see anyone on the town. Like I said, the main part of town is mainly businesses and shops and things like that. Most of the residential areas are more pushed back a little bit. So this part is actually what is normally a more lively part of town. This is part as the most dead, as all the shops seem to be. As you look, you even see signs on some of the doors where people say closed for till further notice, one of them says gone to California. So it seems like some people have just fled and decided to pick up and try their luck somewhere else. Other people where it's a business that people aren't frequenting because it's not essential. They just had to board up because no one's coming to shop. The only ones that seem to be still functioning but not currently open are things that people deem essential. So certain trading posts where people get food and other rations and supplies, a couple of the local bars, different places like that seem to be the only ones that are still functioning, as it seems the fear of this disease, this plague, whatever it is, has driven most people to hunkering down in their homes. But you guys make your way without being stopped or questioned to the center of town and the town well.
Is there anyone that appears to be posted around this that I see?
Make a perception plus alertness roll.
I do that. I have 4 successes on that.
You don't see anyone. It doesn't seem like now you guys did tell the doctor, I think Liam did, that Liam told the doctor to check the well. But seeing as that was only a couple nights ago, you currently don't see anyone guarded around it.
How big is the opening of the well?
About 4 feet across.
Yeah, so there's no way I'm fitting in that.
Well, dude, you're not 4 feet from shoulder to shoulder. Unless you're planning on going down horizontally.
Yes, I submerge like a starfish.
But from shoulder to shoulder, you aren't 4 feet across.
A man as wide as he is tall, completely incapable of flexing his chest inwards.
So basically, Hugh Jackman in the 3rd X-Men movie.
Well, shall we all take a dive, or shall some of us go and some of us stay out?
I don't know about trying to fit all of us down there. Any volunteers?
I don't mind going diving.
I also will go if necessary.
Okay, so who's going down into the well?
I'll go.
Well, Atris will go.
It looks like it's a good 25, 30 feet down till you hit water. There is no steps or ladder or anything. It is just stone down at the well. There is a wooden cover on the well. You get the idea to try and keep like dust and dirt and snow and everything down. It is also the dead of winter. So there might be a little bit of freezing happening.
Yeah, of course.
So it is slick. It is stone. I am going to need both Wea and Atris to make Dex athletics rolls. Difficulty is 8.
Is there a rope around here?
It gets to pull out.
I mean, there's the rope that is on the bucket, and
Yeah.
the rope that people use to lower down the water.
I want to tell him, like, I'll secure the rope if y'all want, and I will do that.
Okay. Do either of you decide to take Walter up on his offer of using the rope to help get down?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Walter, go ahead and make a strength check for me, please.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Just straight strength?
What was
Yes.
the original difficulty again, Sean?
The original difficulty was 8, but I will say with the rope,
8.
it'll make it difficulty 7.
7. And does cat-like balance apply for this?
Yes.
Or is it okay? So for Atris, that would be difficulty 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reroll that. 6 successes.
Okay. Where how'd you do?
3.
Okay. And then 3 successes for the strength check. Yeah, no problem. You wrap that thing around your forearm a couple of times and hold it taut, and even with the weight of Wea's hulking. Now I need to just test the strength of the rope.
Oh no.
The rope botches.
Yeah. Only in this game. Only in this game.
The rope botches, yes.
Wea, you are over 300 pounds of muscle.
Damn.
You are
fucking
built.
huge.
You are built like the strongest of any linebacker. And Atris, while you are a little bit more dainty and petite, it's still another additional 100 pounds plus, like 130 of, maybe a little bit more. But still, the point being is, all in all, you guys are over 400 pounds of weight on a rope that was meant to hold a bucket.
Officially, you jotted me down for 119, and if that makes any difference whatsoever.
So, Atris, this is super easy for you. You're coming down. You know exactly where to put your feet. You know how to. You're a little bit doing hand over hand rather than sliding down, just so that way there's no like rope burn going down. Where there's a couple of times where you start slipping a little bit more. You guys get about 10 feet down. And who's going first? Is it Where going first, or is it Atris going first?
I would assume we would. Atris would insist Where go first, just in case a large being would.
Yeah, weight distribution. Yeah, I'd go first.
Should have flown down as an owl.
Atris, Wea, and Walter. As they're about 10 feet down, you hear as the rope is starting to fray. It hasn't snapped yet on its one success, but it's starting to fray as the sheer weight that is holding down on this rope is starting to snap the rope. What do you do?
Yeah, brace the wall.
Is there any way
I
we
shot
can
down.
Atris can start bracing the against the wall at all?
Yeah, I want to do the same. I want to
Strength
try and,
athletics.
get my bearings.
I took the liberty of shouting good advice because it's my character's forte. This position that they're in.
Yes. You have specialty in shout good advice.
I have specialty in parkour.
Yes. 2 successes? Okay.
Oh shit! How many did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 1, 4.
Okay. 4 successes.
Yep.
Okay. Where you dig in, you don't really have your protein claws out, but you dig into the sides and get a good hold. Atris, you feel yourself slip a little bit on the slick, icy things, but you kind of go and kind of using Wea a little bit as a stopper as you go. You kind of slide until your boots kind of touch Wea's shoulders, and you guys look a little bit like that Haunted Mansion painting.
Hold on, I'm stopping you.
All right. So at this point, go ahead and make another Dex Athletics roll, difficulty 8.
You said difficulty 8?
Yes, because that's what it was before without the rope, and now you know that the rope is. It helped you get down this far a little bit easier, but
nice. I did not botch, so this is good.
Good.
3,
How low our bar
4,
is set.
5.
Yes.
Another 6 successes.
Okay.
I got 2.
Okay. 2's enough. So where you kind of let yourself as a combination of slide, grab, to kind of get down. Luckily, because of your height, there was only another 20 or so feet down. So 6 foot increments at a time, that made it a little bit easier. Atris, you're both able to make it down as your feet touch the ground, and the water is just frigid. It is, most of it is iced over, and as you get down to the bottom, you put your weight on it, and your feet break through to where now it is. You get the idea that depth-wise, it's probably going to be up to your chest, so way up, probably up to your rib cage. Luckily, the cold does not affect vampires, so you don't suffer any like cold damage or anything like that. But it is, you know for a fact that if you were humans, you would be suffering hypothermia at this point. Okay, and you are at the bottom of a well. Some weird, creepy girl in a dirty dress with long black hair is just kind of sitting there and gives you the bro nod.
Oh no.
A little boy diving down in green.
Yeah, there you go. But no,
Macaulay runs up above the well and starts barking.
I was waiting for a Lassie reference.
She won't be a
Sonoy.
danger until VHS.
she gets
And
run off by Sonoy.
There's a little boy with a yellow skin, a red t-shirt, and blue shorts whose foot's trapped by a rock that everyone's ignoring.
But so you guys are down at the bottom of the well. Walter, since you do not have dark vision, you can just barely, you can basically make out movement down there, but that's about all you can see. Adele, what are you doing while they're all, Walter has already shouted down there, which echoed a little bit. What are you doing while the team of spelunkers are currently taking care of the well?
Good question.
Hmm?
Good question. Let's see. Oh, I can use psychic projection now.
Mm-hmm.
I am, checks notes, psychic.
It's like you have ESPN or something.
Something. Hold on. It's windy outside.
Yes.
It is stuffy at our place.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go down there via psychic projection.
Okay. Go ahead and make your roll.
First time doing this. Who's gonna watch my
Talk about
body?
ghosting us.
Yeah, are you
Nobody.
gonna say? Are you
You
gonna
need
say
to
anything
set
to
that
anyone,
up.
or are you just gonna go limp?
Are you going to communicate to Walter?
Yeah. Hey, so I'm gonna do this new thing. Can you watch my body?
I often do.
Touch
Okay.
my body.
I mean, What do you want me to do?
Can you keep it safe while I psychically go down there? I got better at my shit.
You can do that.
I can do that.
Yeah, I
now.
got you.
And Walter,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
actually
I
pretty
got you.
familiar with this, as this is something that Elizabeth used to do. So
Yeah, it's been a while. Walter's excited.
So does this count as? It says difficulty 5 for places within sight, 7 for near or familiar places, but 9 for unknown and far away.
So let me put it this way. If all you're doing is going down, where are you planning on, before I answer that, where are you planning on sending your psychic projection?
Down into the well as far as I'm able.
Okay. So what I will say is, you can kind of see the moonlight reflecting on the surface of the water and a little bit of movement from Atris and Wea being down there. Up to that point, it's going to be difficulty 5.
Okay.
If you move beyond that point, underground or anything else, it's going to be difficulty 9 because it is not familiar, you cannot see it, and it's just your body traveling unknown space.
Okay. Awareness. Okay, so start at 5.
Yes.
All right. Here I go.
And remind me, with that ability, is there a roll to get back into your body too?
If I remember correctly, I think it starts eating away at willpower to pop in and out.
You spend 1 willpower point per scene.
Got it.
And 1 willpower point to be seen or heard.
Got it. Are you spending the willpower to be seen or heard, or are you just going to be invisible?
Just going to be invisible.
Okay.
Okay.
So spend the willpower.
I did.
How many successes?
5.
5? Okay. So this is new for you. You decide to flex this new ability. When you've used your aspects in the past, whether it be to read auras or to look back at the history of an item, there's always been a very clear feeling of a tether to the here and now. While your mind was drifting, you were still very aware of your physical surroundings with your body. That as you will the vitae to push your essence from your body, it's almost like getting a ice bucket challenge of this cold sensation goes through you, and then in a moment you feel nothing. And it's a little claustrophobic at first. There is no, for a brief moment, other than eyesight, but there's no touch. You don't feel the wind against your body. You don't feel the friction of your joints and stuff rubbing together. There's not the weight of gravity. It's kind of scary for a brief moment, but you're able to kind of test out this new form of existence. And for a brief moment, you've heard rumors about spirits and ghosts and things like that. And you suddenly, every ghost story you've ever been told from the time you were a child to now, it's all the more terrifying for you in a brief moment because you imagine, oh my God, this ability is extremely useful, but being trapped in this plane of existence of especially for Adele, of the fear of not being, and you have a moment of flashing back to the nightmare that the djinn gave you of not being seen, the torture of being able to observe the world around you, but not being able to interact with it. You very much get that, you thought this would be more fun than it is. It's really not, but it is definitely useful. Takes you a little bit to try and figure out you're so used to your body propelling you forward one way or the other, and it takes you a moment to, whereas touching something, your mind is more dragged to the visions that you needed to be at. This was a little bit more, at first you're like, go. Oh, I have to think. And so it's one of those things of you realize that you are a being of pure energy and thought at this point. The world around you does look a little bit different. It is very much like the vision when Frodo puts on the ring. It's very much you're seeing a ethereal world around you. You did choose, you said you wanted to be on the physical plane, right? Not on the spectral plane.
Right.
Because I think that's the other thing with this ability. You can choose between being on the physical plane or the spectral plane. So it's very much the world around you, but it's almost like everything is like smoke almost. There's a physicality to everything, but just beyond that, there's the spiritual realm, and you're very much on that cusp. But you're more leaning on the physical side of this. And it makes your brain work about how else this ability can work and what else you could be observing if you so chose and things like that. You will your conscious form down as you descend down in the well, and you see the ice and everything else. And you see that rope, and it was definitely hanging on by a couple of threads as you go by, and you're like, ooh boy. And you get down and you see Atris and Wea down at the bottom. They have broken through the somewhat thin layer of ice that had formed at the bottom, and Wea is about up to his sternum in water. Atris is about up to her, just below her neck, like just up to her chest. The girls are quite chilly. You're not feeling a thing though. You feel nothing.
This is great.
So Wea and Atris, go ahead and give me a perception plus alertness roll. Adele, go ahead and do the same. This is going to be purely vision for you, but for actually, I'm sorry. Perceptigate for Atris and Wea. Perception alertness for Adele.
Standard.
Yes, because of it still being. I will say, however, did you guys? It's very dark down here. Wea, you're okay, but the rest of you, it's extremely dark down in this hole.
Yeah, and there's of course no way we can bring any kind of light source when we're about to go into water. So yeah, that's gonna suck. Atris got 7 successes.
5.
5, okay. Wea?
I got 1.
You got a rock. I will say, Wea, you definitely notice that the water, it's not as bad as the water that you guys originally investigated in Taylorsville, but there's definitely a smell to it, and almost like an oily, like when you drop oil into water and there's that little bit of, it feels different, almost like dropping petroleum into water. There's that slickness to it. It feels and smells a bit weird to you. So far, it still looks like water. It's not so polluted that you can't make it feel, but it's a little bit interesting. How many successes, Atris?
7.
7. You're feeling the bottom of where your feet are touching, and where you were expected to feel ice, stone, rocky river, rocky bottom. It feels kind of sticky, and there's a squish to the bottom of the water that is uncomfortable. I don't know if you've ever been walking somewhere that has a very slick, muddy, the part where it almost sucks your boot off when you go walking in it. But it's that sludgy kind of mud. I'll say for your investigation, you reach down to try and bring it up so that way the little bit of moonlight that's coming down here, you can see, and it looks like tar. Like it is this sludgy oil, and you're reminded of the mines in Taylorsville. Adele, you see the two of them doing this and get the idea that in your astral form to go under the water. It is pitch black, so I will say for all perception rolls moving forward in this space, you're going to be at a +2 difficulty just because there's no light source down here. You're 30 feet under, where the moon is shining.
So just out of curiosity, sate my curiosity. She was recently blind for a period of time. It is not as difficult because familiar territory.
Shouldn't I be used to having to get around in the dark?
If you were blind for much longer, I would say yes, but
Try. Loved me.
However, you notice something, and you notice that the water seems to be, there's a little bit of since they broke the ice, you're noticing from the reflection a little bit of circulation. As you go through, you can't feel, and that's the other thing. You instinctively are reaching out, still getting used to this power to try and feel your way around in the dark as your arms and hands make contact with nothing.
I'm kind of just like floating down.
Exactly. And it's kind of disquieting because even when you wave it around, there's not even the feeling of when you feel the airflow of anything.
Right.
However, you do notice that there seems to be under the water and heading in the direction underneath town a hole, and you look and you see that some of the stones have actually fallen in, almost like part of the well has been broken underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that there is about a 4 foot by 4 foot, not perfect, it's not like a perfect circle, but just about that shape, rough hewn hole that broke through.
Okay.
And that's what you guys notice.
Oh, we may have to be swimming through a lot of this sludge if we're going to descend any deeper way.
Can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to get dirty if there's all this
Oh.
sludge.
Oh man, wouldn't be the first time I got dirty.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens with you quite often.
I guess it's where we did go. I guess we're gonna keep on going down.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're already down. You're there in the well. You're Adele, what are you doing with this information that you got?
That's pretty much as I can.
Without some other form of light source or whatever, that's about as much as you can, because at this point then you're now traveling through the ground underground, so there's literally zero light.
Sure. Okay, then I'll snap back, I guess.
Now again, just double checking, there's no rule then for having to snap back to your body?
Nope.
Okay. Walter, you're kind of looking down at them as suddenly Adele comes back into her physical form. And Adele, it's very much a comforting feeling to once again feel again.
Cool.
Whoa.
Sure am a fan of having a physical form.
Yeah, so am I. You see anything? They okay?
It was weird. I'll say that. It's I just to double check, I noticed it was sludgy.
You noticed it was sludgy.
Okay. Yeah, it's weirdly sludgy down there. Water shouldn't be sludgy, right?
That's what I was afraid to hear myself. Walter leans over the well and sniffs. Does it smell like the shit that got in his face way back when?
Wits plus alertness.
Also, Liam did
boy.
previously sniff the well and reported that it smelled like something similar.
Yes.
So
I'm just
you
saying
did.
if he picks up on it, since he's asking.
Walter only got 1 success on this.
You know what? I'm gonna say that that's enough because since you got a face full of the crap, yeah, it's not nearly as strong as what you smelt before, but there's a little bit of it that you're picking up on. And I'll say, Adele, you did also notice the hole that you got that probably the other guys didn't notice because it was kind of underneath the water level.
Got it.
Oh, yeah, that ain't that ain't a good sign. That ain't a good sign. This ain't anywhere close to Taylorsville. How'd they get out here?
Well, whatever the answer is, it can't be good.
That thing must be real big. Why am I whispering?
I don't know. Why am I whispering?
So I'm gonna look back down the well, just again, and it. I don't have dark vision, obviously. Am I seeing any movement at all?
I mean, you're seeing,
now?
You're hearing the sloshing around, and you're getting that there's movement. You're just seeing, you can just barely, slightly make out the shapes that you assume are Atris and Wea down there.
All right, so they're not like so distant that I am worried they're just gone. Y'all, that's I know that smell. That y'all probably shouldn't be down in that too long. Y'all maybe want to, unless you find something, you might want to get back out.
What
do you think?
What's that smell then?
Are you shouting that back up to Walter?
Yes.
Smells like that black shit I got in my face when Patrick did his special run thing.
Oh no. Oh no.
Should we not be in here, Wea?
Yeah, we should not be here, and I'm gonna concentrate and turn into an owl.
Finally! Finally!
Yeah, so I'm gonna spend 18 seconds and 1 blood point, and I'm gonna fly my ass out of this place.
Okay.
And Aegis will attempt to ascend back up the rope, along with trying to clamp herself against the icy, rocky surface of the well.
Okay.
The storyteller is stunned.
Yes.
How do you know I was gonna turn into an owl?
Do you flap up? Are you up here?
Yeah, I am ascending the well. And when I get on top, I'll just kind of sit on it and just...
Okay, so Adele, what you processed was that underneath the water, on what would be the side of the well, the thing had been broken like into where the hole is. And that's where the sludge is leaking into the water.
Okay.
So it's leaking through a wall in the well. Okay.
Are you gonna tell
Almost
us
like
stuff?
maybe somebody came in and intentionally.
I will say, from what you saw, it was hard to make out if someone came in like with a tool and did it, or if some of the rocks came loose and allowed it to. So it's hard to tell at this point if it was purpose or just. But it'd be a pretty big coincidence from your logic.
Yeah. Okay. I convey that because Miranda just didn't process that information, and so I forgot it.
So as you guys are starting to come back up, Adele shouts down, that she saw when she was down there, that there is a hole underneath the water surface in the wall of the well that seems to be where the sludge is leaking from, and it seems to be leading somewhere.
That's probably where that shit's coming from.
Oh. Oh, that doesn't sound good, but maybe we can we patch that up? I'm just gonna look at whatever Atris's form looks like down there, and then up at this
as you
little
see
owl.
an owl
back.
come shooting out from the hole. By the way, Atris.
Yes.
I need you to make a stamina fortitude roll for me, please.
I haven't got my fortitude yet. That's a 0.
Okay. You take 1 lethal damage as that stuff that you picked up on your hand is starting to burn. And you quickly try and get it off into the water. And again, like tar oil, it's like sticking to you. So you have to like actively go. And you look down when you finally get most of it off, and you look at your hand where you scooped this stuff, and it looks like second leaning towards 3rd degree burn of just not that you would know what this is, but Danny knows. It'd almost be like you grabbed a handful of battery acid.
Can I go ahead and reflexively heal for blood point for that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And if she's not hindered, she's just going to keep trying, keep getting up the.
It's going to be
to
Dex Athletics difficulty 8 to try and get up this slippery, wet, icy 25, 30 foot hole.
I love that I get to roll 11 dice for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and 1, 2. Okay, so that's 4 successes.
You take out a couple of your daggers and use them as ice picks, and you're just getting up there. It's not even a challenge for you. You almost make it out the same time Wea does, and he's flying.
Maybe we could get.
Up those stats.
Maybe we can get Josephine to plug that up somehow.
Maybe.
Of course, the question is this the only source of the sludge, or is it going to be everywhere with the rats?
Give me a perception alertness roll. All of the people there at the well.
Okay. All right.
2,
That's a lot of 2s. I have
3.
1 success.
3 successes.
Three successes, 1 success.
What's the difficulty?
Standard.
Oh, well, that's fine. Hold on.
All right.
Where? How many successes?
That would be 8.
8. Okay.
7.
Okay. I'll say Wea and Adele, you notice this first, followed by Atris, and then Walter as you start noticing them, noticing it, and following their eye lines. As you're kind of looking around, you're noticing you look up at the rooftops, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rats all looking down at you guys with these beady eyes. And they start chattering kind of and one of them runs along the wall and knocks. Like I said, they've been building up the town a little bit, trying to weatherproof it at the very least until they can get the materials to really build it up proper again. You see a bucket that you and some plywood up on one of the things, and the rat purposely kind of thrusts its body into it, so it comes, and you notice that the bucket is actually full of nails and comes crashing down. As down the alley, you see a light from what you assume someone holding a, hey, what was that over there? And you hear someone coming as this, you see someone starting to come around the corner. What do you guys do?
I'm gonna take off and fly in his face and cause a distraction.
Okay, you head towards you're around the corner as suddenly this guy's like, what in tarnation of goddamn animals? First it's the possums, then it's the hawks. What goddamn thing is happening now?
Yeah, and I will distract him as long as it hurts.
Okay, where
Good.
I need you to roll owl stats for Dex Athletics to dodge this guy who is now swinging his oil lantern to try and.
Now he does. It does say they have a +2 difficulty to hit me due to my small size.
They do, yes.
Cool. So just roll this anyway.
You're still rolling it. He has a higher difficulty of hitting you. You have the regular difficulty to dodge. What's everyone? Atris, Dell, Walter. What are you doing?
Atris would like to, if she can give close enough signal, she's gonna put her finger to the other two and cast Cloak the Gathering and use Vanish at the Mind's Eye to disappear in front of the guy.
Okay.
I look over at you and nod my head.
All right, so that's charisma spell.
Okay, how'd you do, Alwea?
2 successes.
Oh.
Okay.
And for Vanish, she got 4 successes.
Okay. Luckily a 1 saved you because he got 3 successes on the hit. He rolled an 8, an 8, and a 9. But got 1-1. So luckily the oil lantern did not hit the really tough owl and potentially shatter it as a flaming owl would have been going. But yeah, he misses you as you're just hooting and fluttering in his face and oh goddamn God, and he starts heading off. Are you guys staying at the well, or are you running off somewhere?
Well, I'll figure we'll probably just run off a bit away, not too far away, probably about 30 feet off in some odd direction.
Okay. You do so, and you get out of there. How long are you going to keep fluttering in this guy's face?
I'll do it like another round.
Okay. Go ahead and give me one more dodge roll.
Much better on that one.
Okay.
I got 3.
Yeah, he only got 1. So once again, you completely, this little tiny softball-sized owl is kind of a hard moving target. So yeah, you're good.
Excellent. Then after that, if I will just take off and fly away.
Okay. You do that.
I'm gonna make like past American naval engineer Richard T. James and slinky out of there.
You guys get a few blocks away. The guy's sounds get further and further away, and you think you're pretty much in the clear. It does seem like they at least took Liam's warning to heart, and there's at least someone patrolling around to keep an eye on the well. But he wasn't there at the time you guys had initially arrived. He's making the rounds and starting to come back around.
So we make it out.
You guys make it out, okay. I'll say you can head back to the homestead, where you get the idea that you can't see them, so you just assume obfuscate, so you decide to head back to the homestead too, as that's probably the best place to meet. Liam, eventually you see that they all come back. You've been studying with Henry.
I did have a very, very brief conversation with Henry.
Sure.
At some point, while everyone else is gone and I know we're in private, I'm just gonna say, look, I don't know why you're lying. I don't necessarily care. I'm well aware that I keep my secrets as well. But I currently don't have any intentions of making you uncomfortable or making it difficult. I'm sure your reasons are your own.
He does not make eye contact, as he does not look up from...
Oh, I'm looking at whatever book I'm reading too. I'm just saying it.
Trying to see. Hold on one sec. One second. I'm checking notes. I had it right here. Damn it. Oh well. He keeps looking down, and in perfect Castilian Spanish, with perfect inflection and everything else, says, well, you're right about one thing. We all do have our secrets. And
I just keep working. That's all. I leave it at that.
And while you go ahead and give me a perception plus awareness roll, please. While you don't necessarily feel any direct malice coming from him, he did lock up a little bit when you called him out on it. And for a brief second, you swear that the candle lights flickered after he said what he said in a room with no breeze, and it was for a millisecond, but you almost swear that the room got a little bit darker and a little bit colder for a brief second.
To be fair, I know last game everyone was like, okay, fine, we know what happened to Henry. I have not trusted jack shit.
Mm-hmm. So that happens, but like I said, it's for like a brief millisecond. And with that, the rest of the crew comes back to the house. I will say, Danny, what we're going to do is between this and next game, we'll do some rolls and we'll figure out so what I will say for everybody is this is what I'm going to want to do. We're going to decide. Let's go ahead and go with the first back meet up of what you guys talked about for the well. But then after that, what we're going to do is You guys know that you have 3 more nights until the steel arrives and 5 more nights until Asmodeus shows up.
And at least one more night till we see Noah and Josephine again.
Right.
Since we've taken 2 to get to this
Right.
point.
So we'll talk about if there's anything else major that you guys want to do, then we can always start next game by acting those out. If not, it's just quick. We're researching. If you want to talk about like what other things you want to do to prepare, we can do that out of game if it's a real simple thing. But anyway, you guys do show back up. You see Henry and Liam are where they were before, studying, reading, taking notes, talking back and forth. You guys show up. What do you Way, are you still in owl form?
Yeah, I'll stay in owl form for a little bit.
Liam, this little owl shoots into the room, and you know it to be Wea, as soon to follow Atris, Walter, and Adele walk into the home.
I would assume Atris is covered in the sludge, so she would kind of
there's a smell that precedes them a little bit, and well, at least
Liam,
Wea and Atris.
Because Liam had opened up his nostrils when like the lights were on because he just wanted to see something, he never closed them. But at smelling Atris, he's gonna see if it irks Henry at all.
Yeah, you look, and yeah, he does go. Oh. And by the way, Atris and Wea, you start noticing on the walk back that's like, my feet are a little bit cold. And you look down, and there are holes in the bottoms of your shoes that this stuff has eaten its way through, and made where it now looks like your shoes are Swiss cheese.
Fucking hell! She just rips off the reins of her boots.
One out for the game.
Yes, our favored weapon, our favorite enemy, clothes.
Was it clothing, and then just us getting into a door seems to be the biggest issue.
Quickly followed by old people.
Can
we just
Josephine
nope to
make
them.
me a scissor blade?
There you go. So, okay, Wea in owl form, Adele, Walter, and Atris come back, and some of them kind of smelling a little bit like the well, Liam, from what you remember.
I see you got there.
Yes. Apparently, it's a lot worse than we thought. It's very sludgy, as she kind of just indicates her tattered remains of her outfit.
There's whatever's happening over in Taylorsville made it all the way out here, and it's in the ground. It's the same shit we saw in the mines, and whatever the reach of this thing was, it's a lot bigger now.
And it's only been what, about a month and a half since we got into town?
Good about.
Couple. We just know we knew something was going on there before we came. That's what got us hired. Don't know how long this dude's been trying to expand here, but looks like we came here barely in time, because Mr. Storyteller, how far away is Taylorsville from San Angelo at this point? Is that one of those?
I know it's been so long since we made this trip.
Yeah, like if I kind of go by the San Miguel being 5 hours from us with a moderate pace, I feel like there's like the first map we ever got had like an 01, 02, 03, and I don't remember anymore what those are. But if we go to that, that's further away than San Miguel.
Yeah. So you get the idea that Taylorsville is about 2.5 days out.
So it's a lot bigger than any of us ever saw before here. And I'm feeling kind of spooked. Shouldn't just say that, I guess, but I'm not in person where I can just act so shaky.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm gonna.
Oh.
Ultra doesn't
I mean,
look
do you
okay.
suppose if it's happening here, it could happen everywhere?
Shit, don't say that. Shit, we gotta stop this thing. We gotta stop this thing.
Oh, clearly.
Well, and especially
That's another
as far as
issue.
I know, the closest seat of power that would be here that would be affected next would definitely be Mr. Black.
He's closer to that than we are, ain't he? I wonder how Jacksonville's doing.
Well, we can, there's the option of checking in on him and asking for his help if we really want to ask someone we just robbed for help.
We could ask around here, see if anyone's come from Jacksonville, knows if there's people sick around there.
I guess that's the least we can ask him questions.
Be nice to know if this, whatever the hell it is just expanding much bigger, or if he's maybe just targeting this direction here.
I mean, is there anything we can do right now to consecrate and bless the well to at least hold it off until, we can get something more direct?
You want to do something with a cross, that's on you.
Not the cross.
I'm staying far away.
Local priest only. I'm not involving Inquisition.
Look, Henry kind of speaks up a little bit and he says, you said that you found sludge at the bottom of the well?
Just black slime.
Yes, it's got a burning effect on my skin.
Look, I don't mean to bring up a sensitive subject, but back during my bounty hunting days for the Inquisition, I was good at what I did, and if you'll forgive me, I hunted quite a few of your kind successfully. I
We're
understand.
Going to be doing the same. No offense taken.
I understand. Any nods. I understand that this thing might be old, but for it to wield the kind of power to affect miles of landscape, I've read about legends among your kind of beings wielding that kind of power, but not since the Dark Ages. I mean, and even then they were rumors. The last concrete recording of one of your kind wielding that kind of power, I mean, we're talking 500, 600 years ago.
Yeah, they tell stories about some old ones, but
that would be your elders. Now look, now I assume that you guys talked about like what happened to St. Angelo, like with the bison. I assume that in your talks with Henry, like that came up at some point.
Oh, like for the town?
Yeah.
Would make sense. It's been top of mind for a bit.
He said, now look, what you told me about with that old partner of yours that seems to be working with him, he was spreading something and muttering something. Now look, my specialty is not blood magic or things like that. All of my abilities are very much just small enhancements, but from what it sounds like and from what I've read about, he was trying to help spread the reach of this being's power by having another anchor besides itself and seeing how far that can help boost the range of its influence. So we have two options and two theories. Either this thing is way stronger than any of us can either fathom, and something from myth and legend has been woken up, and we all need to just decide which continent we want to go live on. Or maybe there's another anchor. You find the anchor and sever it from its connection to this being. Suddenly his reach isn't quite as far as it used to be.
Well, from what we know what we know so far is that he's not actually in that mine. He's using some sort of portal to pour his influence through. So he's not even physically here.
Yeah, we heard he ain't around here.
He's obviously the source, and this portal could definitely be what's making it come out here. And you've been telling me about these rats. Now they might be where Sonoy, you explained to me, and Liam, you explained to me with Bartleby, some of your blood is in both of them.
Yeah.
Which means that some of your essence is in him. If these rats, or especially the ugly ones, are coming from this guy, it stands to reason that a little bit of him is coming with them.
Yeah.
And now, as far as the well goes, it seems like he's... Look, I can't begin to think what this thing is trying to do, but at the end of the day, I like doing research. And the first thing you do with research is you experiment with different things. Seems to me like it's trying different tethers. It's seeing how things spread in the water. It's seeing how things spread by these animals. It's trying to find out what's most effective to spread its area of influence without it physically having to be here. If this water source is part of the corruption, if you find the tether and sever it from this thing's connection, you might just be able to slow down the crawl of its reach. It'd at least buy you some time.
Well, where do we begin finding an anchor of a person who's using a portal to, project and powder everywhere, apparently?
Well, I mean, the water's got to come from somewhere.
Well, no, we're well aware that the corruption was spreading from the river that was near Taylorsville.
Well aware, huh?
Unintentional punnery.
Well, I mean, I would be surprised if the river all the way from Taylorsville is what is fueling the town's water miles away. But I mean, I don't know. I guess underground rivers are a possibility, but there might be somewhere else that the water is coming from.
Well, I suppose it would warrant a look, at least, if we can at least meet. We don't want to travel all the way back to Taylorsville right now, but if there's something close, we can investigate any hint of it where an anchor could be. I guess the water source should be at least a good place to start.
Everything we learn, the more useful Josephine seems to become.
Yeah, I think we made the right decision with her.
No offense to Madame Cho, rest her soul.
We're here now, regardless whatever decisions were made or not made.
I mean,
But-
it wasn't so much a decision as much as it was a giant ball of fire that killed her.
Oh, the fire damaged her. The fall down the cavern into the stalagmites kind of killed her.
That also kind of got in Liam's decision-making way, if I recall.
Anyway, we'll say that you guys continue to think about what you want to do. Noah, I will say that you make it out of the range of the rats. But you guys know that you need to bed down for the dawn, as it is a couple days ride to get to back to St. Angelo. So go ahead and make a wits plus survival roll for me, please.
I botched that.
You start to panic because you cannot think of anywhere that would be a safe place for you to be able to bed down for the dawn that would not have the sun affecting you.
Yeah, would I be able to survive if Josephine just buried me?
You
I
can
would
ask
be
her.
a corpse for a while and hopefully be able to dig myself out in the dawn.
In the dusk.
Yes, the dusk.
Yes. Yeah, I did that twice last week. I kept mixing the dawn, the dusk and daylight.
Josephine thinks for a bit and she goes, well, hun, I'm pretty tapped from all of everything we've been doing, but I think I got just enough juice in me to pull this off for you. Interesting way to tuck you in. You are the most interesting potato I ever did plant. She mutters something as she grabs the soil underneath, as underneath you, the soil almost becomes more liquid as you start to sink down into it. And, well, she's like, well.
As I go down.
Yes, the T2.
Oh, man.
And with that, we'll go ahead and end it for tonight. Next time we play, we will see what plans the group makes, how they connect again, what they're going to do next as this is all building up.
Atris will be missing, but I will probably just steamroll that and play with her character sheet.
Yeah. Like I said, Danny will talk about some roles of how the research goes. Jeff will talk about how Jeff and Danny will talk about some roles for Bartleby and Noah for the mine mission. Everyone gets an XP for showing up. Do you feel you were in danger?
When I was shot at?
Those rats.
I could say Atris could have been a little bit in danger with the sludge covering her.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it to you.
Nope.
Okay, well then, Walter, since you're being honest, everyone except...
Walter and I were nearly shot with holy bullets because of his
those bullets would have been a very big issue had they hit me. But I don't think Walter was worried about it, but is his perception what's on trial here? I don't know.
No. So everyone else to XP. Tell me something badass you did or something you learned starting with Wea this time.
Starting with me. Well, I'll go with the blatant obvious. Fuck, I wrote it down. I still can't remember what it was called. The weapon of the beast and that whole thing of the hieroglyphics depicting a weapon that the lupines are afraid of.
Absolutely. Adele.
I psychic projected for the first time,
You did.
and I didn't fuck up.
Good job.
Yeah, you didn't get completely lost and stuck in that realm.
Yeah.
That would have
the
been
first
fun.
time.
Liam.
Would it have?
I got the cipher clue, or at least the first cipher clue to the Lupines village.
Yes. Walter.
Tell me if I can't use this, but I learned that Henry's up to something, and he's not willing to tell us about it.
Yeah, I'll say you definitely picked up on something that's rubbing you the wrong way about what Henry's not telling you the full truth. Noah.
I learned that Clementine got a lot more followers now.
Mm-hmm.
The plague is spreading to all the ground outside of Taylorsville. And there's one horse that seemed to have run in without caring about that.
Yep, this damn one horse town. Yeah, absolutely. And then Atris.
Atris did cloak the group near the well when someone was approaching. I guess that could have been a confrontation right there.
Yeah, that between that and Owl Wea to the rescue. I mean, as per usual, should have been an owl.
Works every time.
Gonna have to make those t-shirts. All right, yeah. So everyone else gets 3 XP, 2 XP for Walter. For everyone at home, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you coming along this adventure with us. Please click the link, like, subscribe, share with your friends, comment, post, ask questions, and we're going to try and get those pictures done. We're going to try and get Adele to actually do her character bio.
Ask us questions, comment. We don't bite. Well,
We're vampires. We're
that's
skinny.
the main thing we actually do.
Yeah.
Do if you want us to.
Yeah. And even if you don't sometimes, haha, because vampires and consent. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Until next week, keep your fangs and your wits sharp, and thank you for joining us for Tumbleweeds and Tombstones. Have a great week.
Bye.
Wow.